They say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the truth. Hands in the air for the ones who carry the proof. Grandma's hands, cocoa brown, turning collars into crown. Kitchen stories, hush, hush, pain, turn that sugar out of blank. Gold hoops knock on bedroom wall, Kente print on Sunday shawl. Say my name in every prayer, big like smoking southern air. Blacker the berry, bigger the crown. We rise up slow, but we don't bow down. From black hair, black roots in the ground, to the base of our hearts, that heavy sound. Blacker the berry, sing it out loud. Every shade, every scar, so proud. If they ever try to write us out, we incarnate with the anthem now.
Yeah, we on. Pop a cork, set the scene. Gold glass, big dreams. Little hood, still pristine. Laugh lines where lipstick sheen. Secrets fizz when we sit down. High heels, low-key crown. Spill tea, still hold it down. Toast up, level up now. Champagne secrets, sip, save it, spill it. Grown and sexy, talk that talk, but we are when we feel it. Champagne and power, glow in the midnight hour. Little hood, whole lot of class, we gon' cry and laugh louder.
Slow pour, let it rise. Real talk, no disguise. Bad days, but we still thrive. Soft heart, hard-earned pride. I'm enough. Big bag, big piece too. Pray first, then make move. I'm blessed. Self-love in every view. Hit play, it's a new you. I'm chosen.
Champagne secret, sip, save it, spill it. Grown and sexy, talk that talk, but we are when we feel it. I'm healed. Champagne and power, glow in the midnight hour. Little hood, whole lot of class, we gon' cry and laugh louder. Picking down, move right. Deep breath, slow sound, champagne. Secrets out now, I'm ready. Champagne, secrets out now, I'm ready.
Hey girl,
Hey girl,
what you doing?
nothing much.
Get dressed.
For why?
Because we're going to the city. I need a little sip, savor, and spiel.
Let's toast.
What you got going on tonight?
Can't call it. Owning the night. What you getting into?
Empress down in the city tonight. I'm feeling like champagne.
Let's toast.
The content you are about to indulge in may contain high levels of truth, sarcasm, and emotional damage. Viewer discretion is advised, but honestly, you clicked, so here we are.
Side effects of watching may include sudden clarity about your life choices, uncontrollable laughter at inappropriate moments, mild to severe eye rolling at ignorant comments in the chat, increased confidence, boldness, and I said what I said energy, or getting read like a hardcover novel with highlighted notes. Your bad take being turned into tonight's entertainment. A free personality evaluation you didn't ask for, but clearly need needed and temporary embarrassment followed by permanent self-reflection, optional, but recommended. Do not consume if you are allergic to accountability, growth, hearing the truth without sugarcoating. If symptoms of being triggered persist, log off, hydrate, and try again tomorrow. By continuing to watch, you agree that your feelings may or may not be spared, and that's between you and your Wi-Fi.
Management will not be issuing apologies, refunds, or emotional support for bruised ego.
We do not argue here. We educate, escalate, and occasionally decorate the situation with a little razzle-dazzle, respectfully.
Stay classy, stay sassy, and remember, if it don't apply, let it fly.
Either way, the glass stay full and the tea stay hot. You either handle it or get handled. Can you handle it? Let's toast.
Silk on my skin.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Enough is enough! I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane! These motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane! These motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane! Everybody strap in! I'm about to open some fucking windows.
Champagne on my tongue, silk on my skin undone. You lean in, say my name like a secret, like a sin. Coconut glow on your collarbone, salt on your lips, I taste home. You say right, let the night decide. I slide in the passenger side. Yeah. Champagne and silk on my lips, dripping slow from every kiss. Power in the sway of my hips. I'm a king, I'm a queen in the mist. Ocean breeze all over this ride, sweet like nectar when we collide.
Champagne Gang, Fizz fam, confidants, and visitors to the Champagne City. Welcome in. Grab your things, grab your friends, grab yourself. Matter of fact, make sure you grab you a glass of bubbly and get on in here. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm the Empress, and you are joining me for grown discussions and bubbly banter. Baby, over here we give classy with a twist, huh? A little clink with chaos with a side of charm. So if you're ready to sip, savor, and spill, please grab a glass of your favorite bubbly. Please make sure you have your charger right next to you, because this one gonna be deep. Please make sure you're comfy. Fellas, your PJs. Ladies, your jammy jams. Kick your feet up in one of those Chase lounges. Say hi to a few people in the chat, because we friendly over here. And let's get ready to get into the show. But you already know, first things first, let's get into some positivity and affirmations. Are you ready? Take those glasses, raise them high in the air. You ready? You ready? You ready? Today we're talking about move like it's done. Tonight, you stop acting like it's a question, because the hesitation, the what ifs, the waiting for confirmation, it's been slowing down something that's already yours. Move like it's done. Not arrogant, assured. Not loud, locked in. You don't keep checking if it's going to work. You start moving like it already has, because energy follows decision, and you've decided. Move like it's done. That shift, it shows in your posture, in how you speak without over-explaining, in how you take action without asking for permission, in how you stop circling the same thoughts and start executing with clarity. You got this. Not someday, but now. So why move like you're still unsure? Move like it's done. You don't chase outcomes. You align with them. You don't force doors. You walk through the ones that open when you show up right. You don't ask. You don't question your path. You walk it like it's already confirmed. So tonight, no hesitation, no overthinking, no stepping back into doubt when you've already stepped forward in growth. You move clean. You move clear. You move certain. Now say it with me. I don't question what's mine. I move like it's already secured. I don't hesitate in my actions. I step forward with confidence. I don't wait for confirmation. I become it. I got it. And I move like it's already done. And tonight, I don't hope it works. I walk like it already did. And if you feel that deep down on the inside, baby, take that glass, raise it high in the air. Let's toast. And for all of you who decided to come in my beautiful city with your heart set on hell and your brain set on being a hellion, baby, let me introduce you to the Champagne City, because over here, we don't do no trolls.
Yeah. Whole squad on patrol. Where they at? Point them out, that troll. Troll buses on patrol. Hey, hey, hey! Troll buses on patrol, troll patrol. Clamp down, shut them out, tow that troll. Click clap, log them out, fold that troll. Whole chair, chanting now, roast that troll. Roast that troll! Troll buses on patrol, troll patrol. Yeah, big boots, stomp them out, roll that troll. Roll it, cap lock, drag them out, scroll that troll. Crowd yell loud, we control these trolls. We control these trolls. You type to little mole that troll. Live in my crib, little bowl cut troll. Grease on your keys, little old stain troll. Bridge so hot, screen cold from the troll. You a bridge bottom, did water troll. Wi-Fi weak, one bar in your soul. Profile pic, just an egg on a pole. Whole existence on whole set troll. Same fake pages, same lane troll. Catfish, but you can't say that troll. Talk big game, but you fold like a scroll. We just laugh, hit mute on the troll. Troll buzzers on patrol, troll patrol. Wait. Clamp down, shut them out, tow that troll. Click clack, log them off, fold that troll. Whole chat, chanting now, roast that troll. Roast that troll. Troll buzzers on patrol, troll patrol. Big boots, stomp them out, roll that troll. Cap lock, drag them out, scroll that troll. Crowd yell loud, we control these trolls. We control these trolls. You a damn rock, mouse grown troll. Lil' dust might all brand troll. Fry or hair, little egg roll troll. Keyboard chrome, snap pad troll. You a bad seat, no roll troll. Big talk, zero gold troll. DM tough in the street, so cold. See us live, now your spine made a jello troll. You a trash bag, half torn troll. We a whole squad, patrol that scroll. On the fly swatter, you the mad ass troll. She the boot heel, flatten that troll. Go home, go home, troll. Whole room, yeah, log off, troll. Log off, home, go, home, troll. Whole room, yeah, grab, troll. Troll busters is on patrol, troll patrol. Slam down, shut them out, tow that troll. Click clack, log them off, fold that troll. Whole chat, chanting now, roast that troll. Roast that troll. Troll buses on patrol, troll patrol. Yo, big boots, stomp them out, roll that troll. Cap lock, drag them out, scroll that troll. Crowd yell loud, we control these trolls. We control these trolls.
You know, I'm getting ready for work tonight, and a word has been going through my head all day long, right? And the word is reciprocation. Reciprocation, right? That means if you don't call me, I'm not calling you. You're not hearing from me. You don't text me, Might as well delete my number. You don't make plans with me. We never seen each other. We not linking. You call me on my name. You about to be every name in the book. Reciprocation. Reciprocation. I don't give a fuck what you want to call it. I'm and I'm recating all year long. That's it.
Now, I'm not sure if everybody was just like not taught the unspoken rule or if y'all just stopped giving a fuck. I don't know which one it is. I can't fault y'all for not knowing. But it's been happening so often lately that I feel like I have to say something. I have to. Because enough is enough. Walking is like driving a car. It means you stay to the right at all times. You stay to the right. Only time you go to the left is if you got to speed past somebody on the right. That means if you're walking in the mall, all the stores is on the right-hand side. Boom, store, store, store. Only time you cross over to the left is if the store is on the other side. If you are going up the stairs, you stay to the right. The person coming down is going to be on your left and their right. Still staying to the right. What's not clicking? Make it make sense. You are fucking up feet traffic. Fucking it up. You know, I always find it interesting when people are like super shocked that you would make a decision out of like the kindness of your heart or a decision out of love, because it makes me think. The reason you're asking me like, are you sure, or are you not gonna go back on your decision, or it's because you would do that. So you're so shocked that I would do something because you wouldn't do it. And I sit on that. Because sometimes we give so many people, what's the word I would use? We give them the treatment that we wish to receive from them. And they're so shocked when we give it to them because they would never do it for us. Shit's crazy.
So there you have it. I wanted to open it up and let you hear Ashlee speaking. And the reason I wanted to open up that way is because a lot of times we cover these stories and we forget behind the story is an individual. And I think a lot of times when we get into the drama of a story, that's the part of the story that we forget, is that this is still a person. This person still has a family. This person still has a mama, father, potentially, siblings, cousins, aunties. And we forget about that because all we care about in the moment is our opinion, right? And I wanted you guys to be able to understand that this is more than just a story. This is a story about an individual. And I don't want us to lose the fact that Ashlee was a person while you're listening to everyone's opinion about this person, right? So let's get into, let's start here. I want to show you Ashlee's Instagram. So as we covered before, a lot of the pictures that you're going to see up front are pictures from her trip. Let me make sure my volume off. I don't want y'all to hear it. Hold on. A lot of it is from her trip. This is her in the bed with Joe. Absolutely gorgeous girl, almost like unreal. This is her in Zanzibar. You see on the ground it says HBD, happy birthday Ashlee. She's feeding the giraffes and the animals. Again, this is a dream. To walk with the lions, please argue with your mama. I would love to. Here she is with the zebras. A lot of people are pointing out the way his face looks in this picture, almost like he's scowling, if you will. This is another picture of her with the zebras. She did have her body done. I don't know what's different between her doctor and the doctor that these other girls is using, but maybe they should have had a conversation with her. That's all I'm saying. This is a picture of her and him after he proposed. Even the lion was over it. Beautiful, as you can see, scenery. Nothing about this scenery says prepare to no longer be here anymore. As you see, she's walking and enjoying herself. Even in a lot of her captions, she said, if this is a dream, please wake me up. It's a video of them walking together. I just want you to see videos from this trip before it all went to hell. This was when he proposed to her. So let's get into some updates. So for those of you who do not know, and I don't know how because I'm sure everyone has kind of heard or following this story, thank you guys for joining me today. Everyone who's watching in the background as well, come on in, take a seat, make sure your glass is filled to the rim. Who is Ashlee Jenae? Her real name is Ashlee Robinson, 31. She's a lifestyle influencer. She's known for the soft life content, travel, luxury, femininity, being taken care of. She's based in the U.S., often reported Miami, Portland ties. She has upward now of 90K followers. So the official police timeline from the Zanzibar police, I don't want to mess up his name. The Zanzibar Director of Criminal Investigations provided this sequence, reported via Lord Mananchi and cross-confirmed by BBC and others. April 4th, Ashlee Robinson and fiance Joseph Joe McCann, 45, checked into Zuri Zanzibar Resort, Villa number 25. Planned departure was supposed to be April the 10th. April the 8th, so this is 4 days later, 6 p.m., romantic argument erupts inside the villa. Now, according to reports from the neighbors that were near, they never stopped arguing. They've been arguing since they arrived at the resort. Whatever happened, I don't know if it happened post engagement, I'm sorry, because I think the engagement was a different time. Not sure because a lot of the stories are conflicting. But I don't know if this was post the happy birthday picture where she's with the giraffe, where she's looking happy, whether this is post engagement or what, but something goes to hell. Arguments start and they don't stop. A neighbor overhears and reports it to the hotel management. So this in itself should let us know that this was more than just a couple's argument. Because for the most part, they're going to report it, but there's not going to be any concern about any danger on the part of the other two. Hotel staff intervene and separate the couple for peace. My question would be, how bad was this argument? When they intervened, was it physical? Do you think it was physical? Or do you think it was just a verbal, escalated argument? Drop in the comments and let me know what you think this argument was. So they intervene and they separate the couple. McCann is moved to Villa 65, which is an 8 to 10 minute walk away, right? April 8th, hotel attendant does evening rounds, visit Villa 25. Ashlee is awake, says she needs service, but asked him to return 10 minutes later and borrows his phone charger. 20 minutes later, the attendant returns. He knocks, he gets no answer. He notices no lights were on, so he uses his card to enter. After he noticed no lights were on, he hears a thud from the wardrobe area. Now, whether this thud was from her struggling, whether this thud was from him opening the door and disturbing the scene, which caused her to move from the position she was in to another, all we know is he heard a thud. Continuing the discovery. So the attendant finds her hanging from the internal wardrobe hanger rod using a gray clothing belt, wardrobe belt. She was still alive, but she was struggling. He immediately alerts management. Now, from what we know, we don't know how far away management was or the method to which he alerted them? Did he run back to the desk? Did he use a walkie-talkie? Did he use an exterior phone to alert them that something was wrong? It also doesn't say, to my surprise, that he attempted to help her. That would be my concern. Why would a man see a beautiful damsel in distress and not attempt any life-saving efforts at that moment? It's my question. According to this, she's struggling, but she's still alive. 8:55, hotel staff take her down, administer first aid, and rush her to the nearest hospital. I would love to know how much time was it between the time that he found her and the time that hotel staff actually took her down. Matter of fact, the time between contact with hotel staff and the time he found her. And then the time from contact to the time they took her down. How long was she hanging like this? Right now, the only timeline we know is he gave her a charger. She told him, come back in 10 minutes. He did rounds and came back in 20. What happened after that? April 8th through 9th, transferred to Ampola Hospital, Minjini, Magharibi region for further care. April 9th, 3 p.m. She's pronounced unalive at the hospital. So, there's no evidence of foul play at this stage. Joe McCann is in police custody and is being questioned as a witness, not formally a suspect. I'm confused at that, but we're starting to see this more and more in cases. If you pay attention, the person who should be the primary suspect in the case is most times being let off, like right away, without seemingly any formal investigation. Just, oh, okay, that's it. Look at the Nancy case. Let off. Her kids, let off. I don't care what y'all say about them being. At the end of the day, the last individuals to see her are generally, even if they're not a suspect, they're persons of interest. That stage was completely skipped over in this situation as well as in that one. And my question is why? His passport has been withheld while the investigation continues. So post-mortem autopsy is underway at the government hospital by forensic specialists. Family is participating via a U.S. verified coroner. No arrest or charges have been filed yet. Ashlee's parents, Yolanda Denise Andres, the mother, and Harry Robinson, father, gave their first national interviews. They regret the suicide narrative outright. She was happy, supposed to be happy. Now, here's the thing, and we spoke about this before. One of the things that you have to always remember is a smile can hide a lot. So you can't automatically assume somebody was happy because they were smiling. You can't automatically assume somebody was happy because they like being in front of the camera. Don't we remember what happened with what's his name, 600 BZ, some foolishness like that, with his girl? She self-deleted, and online she looked perfectly fine. She was a fitness instructor, helping everybody, encouraging everybody, and making everybody smile. But on the inside, she said she was feeling like she didn't fit in this world, like she was a stranger, an outcast, like she was looking in from the outside. You can't always look at a smile and assume somebody is doing okay. Sometimes the most bubbliest of laughs is hiding tears that you may never see. Ashlee called her mom on April 8th and mentioned the argument. They were separated into different rooms. First contact from Joe McCann came 11 hours later. He said she was okay, stable, and not to worry. Now, this sounds a whole lot like the case with Lulu and Tyrone Davis that we've been covering. Didn't his family tell everyone the same thing, that Lulu called them and told them that he was okay and stable, but he was already deceased? Let's continue. They learned of her death from the hotel, not from McCann. They have heard next to nothing from McCann since. They are requesting surveillance footage from the resort and cooperating fully with Zanzibar police and the U.S. Embassy. What I want to get into right now is I want to get into some TikTok reactions. And the reason I want to get into this is because right now this story is kind of going viral for all the wrong reasons. At the end of the day, it shouldn't matter whether or not this man was black, white, pink, purple, green, blue, or beyond. At the end of the day, a life was taken. And the bigger conversation here that really should be happening is the lack of respect and value for females. This ain't even a black female thing or a white female thing. This is women in general. It's across the board. Women no longer have value. That's why they're being executed and erased at alarming rates. And no one is realizing it because we're too busy paying attention to color. Yeah. But let's get into these TikTok reactions. And I want you to let me know what you think.
And he is well known by hotels, staff, and the people. So he has frequented Zanzibar. And my source said they were arguing about him cheating on her. He would leave the villa to go to other women at night.
And other women, would it be local women?
Yes. And then they also said that there was an argument at I think at the reception or something like that. Outside, there was also another argument. Somebody was flirting with Ashlee, and he got offended, and she started screaming about him cheating on her. That is what my source said. And he said that the police have arrested about 10 people who are suspected of...
Now press pause because this really made me think of a few things. Hold on a second. Let me see if I have it on here. Yep. Number one, we were glitching the other day, so y'all probably didn't get a chance to see it because we've been in the middle of storm after storm after storm and tornado watch after warning after watch after warning. That's why we haven't had a video, but I told y'all this kind of makes me think of this situation right here. You remember when we were having a conversation about Scotty with the Baby, the new series on Zeus? And in the middle of episode 1, Scotty and Lemmy are having a conversation. And in the middle of the conversation, Lemmy opens his mouth and says, you know, I believe in a customizable relationship. Now, I've never heard of a customizable relationship before. However, in 2026, y'all seem to want to do what y'all want to do. And y'all seem to label things as what y'all want to label it as. And y'all seem to take things that never was and make them mean things they never meant. And y'all switching definitions and meanings. And y'all switching genders and everything being switched in 2026. But Lemmy mentions a customizable relationship. He doesn't go into detail on what a customizable relationship is. However, if you look at today's dating pool and the way dating is going, to me it says, I love you, I want you, you my number one, but I still want to be able to do me. That's customizable. I'm able to attach what I want to attach and remove what I want to remove. Y'all running around here with Mr. Potato Head relationships and y'all don't even know it. Y'all got partners that just clicking pieces on and pulling pieces off as they see fit and playing with y'all emotions and y'all heartstrings in the process. Customizable. That's what that makes me think of in this situation when they say that she's arguing with him about other women. Doesn't sound to me like that's a first thing. Do you possibly think this is a situation of her getting in over her head? Her wanting something that he never promised her. See, that was one of the biggest things with Scotty and Lemmy in that conversation that I learned is, oh, y'all had an arrangement from the beginning, and now her feelings are involved, and she wants to change the rules of engagement. Do you think that's the situation with this situation? Older man, younger woman. We're going to take color out of it. Please, please don't come in my comment section with that. Oh my God, this is what happens when we date white men. No, because black men doing it to black women too. We not going to say that dumb shit. Please don't. What do you think the nature of the relationship was between these two? That could tell you a lot about how deep this argument went and why.
Involved in terms of investigation wise, the hotel staff, some people, also his friend. He had a friend there.
Wait, who had a friend there? To be clear, so that they're out.
Joe McCann had a friend in Zanzibar, and that friend has been arrested too.
Was this a male friend?
Yes, a man.
So he had a man with him at this resort that has been detained?
Yes.
Is this a white male? Do we know anything? Is this a foreign male? Do we know any specifics?
Yes, I have been told he's a white male. The police are going to release the postmortem on Friday. And also the police are holding on to all types of video and photos in terms of evidence. They're holding on to anything that is video and pictures. They said that it's going to impede the investigation. When Ashlee was found, she had her ring on, because I saw some people asking that he chose Tanzania because the country has no good relationship with the US, first of all, because they're on the ban list. So everything that's going to come out is not going to be authentic. I do not believe in the justice system of Zanzibar.
Now see, that right there is the scary portion. Welcome in, spiritual gangster. Hey, boo. That's the scary portion of this. And see, this is what y'all miss about this ignorant ass fool that y'all got in the White House that y'all call president. The one I call Agent Orange. Yeah, this is the part that you don't get. Because see, right now, we don't see the danger in traveling because we're still in this YOLO stage. You only live once. It's my thing. I want to do what I want to do. In your mind, you're not stopping to think about this orange bastard is pissing off everybody. So I'm not going to do the U.S. bidding, even if that means the individuals from the U.S. getting hurt on my land. Why am I going to solve a situation for the U.S. when the U.S. is causing problems for us? Now, that's something to take into consideration when you're thinking about traveling, especially if you're from the U.S. Because now you got to stop and think about, what is the U.S. relations going to be? What is the U.S. embassy going to do? What is the government going to do when they find out someone from the U.S. has been injured on their land? And they have the final say-so, and they are the deciding factor in what happens to the individual that committed the crime. Something to think about.
Let me say that. I'm an African. I'm in Africa. You can say whatever you want about me, but I'm going to speak the truth. And he is known. He's a frequent, visitor. They know him. That changes the story. It's not like somebody who just went there for the first time. And then he also chose a place where the police can be bribed.
Okay, elaborate on that. Tell us a little bit about the culture in foreign countries such as Zanzibar or Tanzania, Africa. How are white men viewed there?
Basically, they worship them.
You said worshipped?
Yeah, kind of like they hold them in high regard. So when I talked to my source, and my source told me the man did it.
Wow.
Everything.
Loud and clear. From your source.
Yes.
Your source.
A lot of people saying Ashlee Jenae would still be here if she would have never got with that white man. Well, not necessarily. I hate to be the black man to deliver this news, but there's a higher rate of black men killing their wives than it is white men. There's more cases of white men killing their wives because there's a lot more white men than there are black men. But the rate is higher with black men. So what I gather from this is damn near no woman is safe. Y'all gonna have to start being lesbians or something because these men out here killing y'all at an alarming rate. Don't matter if you're black, white.
Facts, and facts are damn again. This is why I keep telling y'all need to guard the parameter for which you start allowing people into your life. Especially when you're talking about making someone a husband, even getting into a relationship. That's still a journey within itself. And y'all hopping in these relationships with Jeffrey Dahmer, with Ted Bundy, with Ed Gaines. Y'all jumping in these relationships and y'all throwing your heart on the table and you don't even know these individuals. Women and children are no longer protected. So now you got to start figuring out how to protect yourself. Ain't that crazy? Who would have thought that we would have ever seen a day and age come? Even in war, it used to be protect the women and children. Who would have thunk we would see a day and age where women are no longer a protected species? But do you know whose fault that is? I'll tell you what. Go grab your nearest mirror and take a look at it. Us, ladies, we are the reason why we are no longer a protected species. Because for too long, you done ran around talking about you can do the same thing as them. You don't need them. You're the same as them. Now half of y'all want to be them. This is why y'all are no longer protected. Y'all think y'all can jump on them. You can swing on a man. You can run him over. You can slash his tires. You can bust his windows. You can damage his property. You can set his stuff on fire. You can call him out his name. And everything is still going to be okay. And he going to sit you on a pedestal. No, they sick of y'all shit. Said what I said. Argue with your mama, not me. We are the reason we are no longer a valued commodity. But let's continue.
Check and see what the damn Asian men doing. What y'all doing? And I already know about the Mexicans because they don't call the tank tops wife beaters for nothing. And women, when you be dating, stop letting these men get all these different chainsaws and all these different garden tools, bringing them up in the house. They damn near plotting on you. They about to help bury your ass while you sitting up, oh yeah, he going to Home Depot. Tell him to come from Home Depot. You wouldn't be allowed to have shit but scotch tape at my motherfucking house. And men, watch your temper. Damn, you be that mad when you gotta kill a bitch? You got to knock a bitch off? I wouldn't have shit but butter knives in the house. How the fuck this steak knife get up in here? Who brought this steak knife in here? We don't even eat steak.
He
We
ain't
vegan.
told not one lie. Funny or not, no lies told. Because fellas, what is going on? Why y'all rage baiting? Y'all are running around like y'all all on steroids, having withdrawals or something. Y'all, what's going on? What's going on that we've reached a day and age where men cannot handle no? Where men cannot handle, I no longer want you. I no longer want this relationship. See, I came from a time where dudes would be like, all right, cool, on to the next. You know why? Because they probably had another one already. They wasn't going to take you out. They was going to catch their loss, count their losses, and keep moving. I came from the money over everything culture. Maybe that's the problem. All of y'all running around with no emotional control, no emotional EQ, males or females. The minute a woman can't get what she wants, she throwing a whole tantrum like a 12-year-old in the middle of the store. And I told y'all the other day, we not paying attention to it, but I need y'all to watch it. Men with no emotional EQ these days, they're taking it out on the women. Women with no emotional EQ these days, they're taking it out on the children. And we don't even realize what's happening. Whole bloodlines are being wiped out, wiped off the face of the earth. Trump has already said that there has been a decrease in babies being born. I don't think there's a decrease in babies being born. I think there's an increase in matricide with the babies being born because they're being taken out of here at an alarming rate by their parents before they even make it to 1 year old. Dig that.
And you ever realize when a woman just going off, the man always say, man, she crazy. No, motherfucker, statistics show that you crazy.
So nobody else gonna say it, man. I'm gonna be the one to say it. Y'all really reaching with the tweets when it comes to Ashlee Jenae, man. And we're gonna go over these tweets, right? And we're gonna do it unbiased, without our feelings, and just straight facts. So let's talk about it. One of her tweets right now that's viral is a tweet of her saying, and I quote, "Everyday black men wake up and find new ways to embarrass us." And basically she was saying in that tweet, or that retweet per se, it was a video that's no longer on Twitter, but talking to some of the people that were around her, they were saying it was a video of a black guy, eating some watermelon all crazy in front of white people.
Bruh.
I know, right? A video of a black man eating watermelon in front of a group of white people.
Bruh.
That's what y'all complained about. That is what y'all complained about?
Bruh.
Hey y'all. Hey, I just want to let you know race doesn't determine if someone's going to harm you. Their character does. People are using this Ashley Robinson story as a way to spark debate about how interracial couples are bad and why you should stay within your own race. But I would say that argument ignores a much deeper reality. Because abuse doesn't check a race box before you get a fist to your face. You know that, right? Dating inside your race doesn't automatically protect you, and dating outside your race doesn't automatically protect you. Race has never been the determining factor of whether you're safe. It's the person's character that determines whether you're safe. A person with violence in their heart doesn't automatically become safe just because you guys are both the same skin color. If dating inside your race meant you're automatically safe, then we wouldn't see all these different partners that are dating inside their community that are getting unalived every single day. We saw what happened with Ashley Robinson. We just saw what happened with Justin Fairfax. The biggest problem is the violence, the accountability, and that women aren't safe no matter who they date. We would be talking about recognize the behavior, holding them accountable, and letting them know that violence is never justified. Safety is literally about people's character, their values, and the choices that they make. When we turn tragedies into racial debates, we lose sight of the person who was harmed and the person who caused it. We brush it off as, I don't care anymore. Not my problem. Anyways, what's for dinner? That's what I'm seeing all up in these comments. I see this in the white community. I see this in the black community. And
this is one of the reasons why I say as a community, we are not ready for what we keep saying that we're ready for, which is revolution. Because here again is another situation that we see has divided the black culture, right? Another situation, you have half the men over here saying, this is a woman, her life has been lost, let's get her justice. We have another group saying, this is a woman who didn't like black men, to hell with it, I don't care about it, talk to somebody else. Divided once again. Instead of someone stepping up and saying, you know what, y'all, let's take this away from race and deal with the fact that a life was lost. Period. Period. Whether she liked black men or not, this was a young woman whose life was lost. At the end of the day, God gave us all something called choice. You got a choice of where you eat. You got a choice of where you sleep, for some of us. You got a choice of what you want to wear. You got a choice of who you want to date. You got a choice of what color you choose to want to fall in love with. That is a person's prerogative and their priority. That is their choice. How dare we continually try to take away choice, but then label it as right or wrong? Who are we to determine what is right or wrong in someone else's life? That removes choice. A person has the choice to like you and not like you. You have the choice of who you like and who you don't like. If she doesn't have the right to not like certain things and like certain things, then baby, guess what? You don't either. You don't either. Then all of us don't have none of us should have anybody in our life that we don't like. Period. But do you know why you do? Because we all have choice. And none of us are God in anybody else's life to tell them what that choice should be. Get it?
Is a topic. It's, oh, well, what's that got to do with me? She chose her bed. Let her lay in it. The hardest truth is that women have been saying that they don't feel safe. They've been saying this for a long time. These stories, they keep getting more and more consistent. And that should be what's getting our attention right now, not the color of people's skin.
So I don't typically do these kind of videos. I'm just not like a TikTok, Instagram person. I prefer to watch than to make videos. But there's a topic very close to home, and that is about my friend Ashlee Jenae. There's a lot of talk about her around on the internet, and as someone who's known her since about 2021 to 2022, everything that everybody's saying couldn't be further from the truth of who she was as a person. And it's bad enough finding out and having this be the way that I found out about Ashlee and everything that she's been through. But it's almost traumatizing to see how people talk about her in the midst of this devastating loss. I'm just going off script, but the goal of me making this video is for me to kind of explain to you who she was, because while the videos where people are assuming what happened to her, or assuming it was her partner, or assuming things that they don't know, you guys aren't even spelling her name right in half of these videos. You guys aren't even pronouncing her partner's last name right in half of these videos. And you guys create videos with so many opinions where you're 10 toes down on what you're saying, and it's hurtful to the family who knew her. It's hurtful to the friends that knew her. It's hurtful to her family. It's hurtful to anybody who's trying to get a genuine update that loves and cares about her, because she was a phenomenal person. She was a fucking phenomenal person. Excuse my language. I don't know if I could post it like that, but she was a phenomenal person. She was funny. She was a girl's girl. She would make sure you got home if we went out drinking. She was about black women. She was about her black people. So all this stuff about her being with a white man, okay, that's who she chose to be with. You guys are pulling up messages from back in 2011, 2013.
I'm so glad that you posted this, because it really stresses me out that we can't get ourselves to understand that this is bigger than just color. At the end of the day, all of us are mixed with something else. Find me one person that's pure. All of us. All of us. So for us to talk about separation, for us to constantly talk about all this hate, we so black and proud but got 30-inch bust downs in our hair. Like, wear your hair then. Right? Black people want to separate from Africans. We are not the same, but we wear ankhs and kente cloth and Egyptian symbols and all of, like, choose your struggle. It's got to be one or the other. And it goes to show you how dumb the arguments really are. You can't not like me and wear my stuff. Yeah, come on, make it make sense. The hate is absolutely dumb. Matter of fact, I keep telling y'all, this is the Coliseum. That's the problem. This is the Coliseum. Everybody's out for blood. They're not out for positivity. They're out for the drama, for the mess. The messier you make it, the more tuned in people want to be into it, because they're there for the mess. They're there to see how many cuts you can get before you bleed out. That's what they're there for. They're there to see how much you can get attacked before you shed a tear. That's what they want to see. It's the Coliseum. The world right now is one big Coliseum, and people are just sitting around to see when the next act is going to be. Gladiators, are you not entertained? That's what we waiting on. The next gladiators to come on the screen. Damn, who get hurt? Who has to heal afterwards? You don't care because you sitting behind the screen with your fingers tapping. You don't care because you take joy and pride in hurt and harm and pain because you don't know how to heal from your own hurt and harm and pain. So you wanna project it on others. That's why I don't deal with trolls and negativity. It's really sad that this young lady's death can't be properly discussed or investigated because people's personal opinions get in the way of the situation. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is this man could have potentially unalived this woman, or someone potentially unalived this woman. And we need to get to the bottom of it, no matter who she chose to love and who she didn't. Said what I said. Argue with your mama, not me.
She was still a child. She's worked hard for where she is. Just because you can't relate to her doesn't mean you should dehumanize her, right? We are already talking about dehumanizing people across the fucking world in genocides, but we dehumanize this person because they don't live a lifestyle. Hold on. Because they don't live a lifestyle that you agree with, or they both loved each other. I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong, but let's allow the police to do their job. Hi. Let's allow the police to do their job instead of jumping to conclusions. Let's think about this for a second. Let's play this hypothetical theory of a game, right? I'm going to turn back around because this is a busy road over here. Let's play this game. The same way that the entire internet is showing hate, envy, hi, hello, hate, envy, jealousy at this beautiful, successful black woman and her age gap successful partner. Because mind you, Ashlee was also doing her own thing. She had her own life outside of Joe. They added to each other's lives. Consider that. We don't know what happened. I'm not saying that he didn't do it. I'm just saying allow the cards to play out, because if he didn't do it, then not only are you guys dehumanizing Ashlee, whose life was taken away from her potentially, but then also the man who, I'm sure if he had no hand in this, he's grieving terribly, and he's gonna come to the conclusion, look how much his life is ruined when it was supposed to be the best experience of his life. What I'm saying is we don't know. Let's not jump to conclusions, okay? Now consider this. All this envy and hate in the world, what if somebody's seen this beautiful chocolate woman being proposed to by her older, very wealthy partner? You've seen that picture of her feeding the giraffe with those evil eyes watching her, the same way that I see the evil eyes on the internet condemning her when she's a victim, potentially. I knew Ashlee. I didn't know her to do something like this, so I might be leaning more into something happened to her, but this is all speculation. This is just from the person that I knew her to be. This isn't like her. She's not one to put up with someone mistreating her. So I don't know. I just know that you guys know less than I do, and I've known her for years.
I'm an African. I'm in Africa. You can say whatever you want about me, but I'm going to speak the truth. And he is known. He's a frequent, visitor. They know him.
Okay, so I think that's all the reactions that we have. Let me see. I also wanted to show you guys this. So I ran across these on, what was it? Twitter or Reddit, one of the two. But it made me ask a question as to the type of things that Ashlee is really into. This is what makes me go back to the other question that I asked you guys of whether, or should I say, what you guys think the relationship was between them. In the images you see here, the two bottom images were actually from a video. In the video, the man is taking his hand and he's sticking it down her throat forcefully. But, you know, BDSM style. I'm trying to be YouTube polite. All the way in her, and she's looking at him. So the caption says, I need full eye contact throughout. You understand? She reposted this. Immediately when I saw this, I said in my head, interesting. Automatically took me to 50 Shades of Grey. Now, if anyone has seen this movie, you already know it's about a BDSM, bondage, slave style relationship. It's sexual, but it's a certain type of intimacy. Only certain people are into it. Everybody is not. But it is a relationship that takes pleasure in a level of pain. Let's put it like that for those of you who may not know. So when I saw this, hey baby, how you doing? So when I saw this, the one thing that I immediately thought was her relationship with Joe might not have necessarily been the kind of relationship that we think it is or was. Right? The other thing that I thought about, the top picture that you see here is a picture that she shared, and it's a monster with a monster sexually. So it also made me step back and want to know exactly what kind of man does she like, and if she likes dating, quote unquote, monsters. To me, that fits in with the two pictures below that gives you a full BDSM style relationship. Maybe the relationship isn't what we think it is. What do you guys think? Do you think this was the customizable relationship like Lemmy was talking about? Is this how she liked her relationship customized? Was she into this kind of thing? Was he more a contract than a relationship that she fell in love with? But he proposed to her. Yeah, I'm pretty for sure. You don't think contracts say I do? You don't think contracts get married? There's a lot of y'all married to contracts right now. They with y'all for the benefit, not for the love. They with y'all because they can get something out of it. A lot of y'all in relationships with people who are in love with the idea of what you represent for them. They're not in love with you. They're in love with what they get off of you, what they get from you, what they get through you, not with you. But let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think they were truly in love? Or, considering what she's posting online, could the relationship have tapped into something else? Now I want us to get into, before we get into the second part of our show, I want us to get into what the family had to say. Check this out.
Lifestyle influencer Ashlee Jenae died during a trip to Zanzibar earlier this month, and now her family is demanding answers. Ashlee's final posts on social media were of her celebrating her birthday with giraffes in Tanzania, Africa, and getting engaged to her boyfriend, Joseph McCann. But there's a local report claiming initial investigations determined Ashlee took her own life during the trip after a falling out with her fiancé just days after he proposed. Joining me now are Ashlee's parents, Harry and Yolanda, and their spouses. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys.
Thank you.
So local authorities in Zanzibar initially said that Ashlee took her own life, but you guys released a statement saying that her death was suspicious. What do you think happened?
We're not too sure what happened. That's what we're trying to find out. I got 2 emails today from
the embassy in Zanzibar. And they said the investigation is still ongoing. That they have not determined the cause of death yet at all, and the investigation is still ongoing and still pending right now. So there has nothing official has been released. And that's what we're trying to find out. We just want answers.
What was the initial call like when you first learned that your daughter passed away?
The call was shocking and it was devastating and scary, honestly, because we don't know what's going on and what happened.
What did they relay to you at that time?
Well, the communication came to us from the Hotel Zuri Zanzibar, where they were staying. It didn't come from the hospital or from the police.
Have you guys since spoken to authorities or the embassy?
No. We've had little contact with the embassy, but no, not with the police.
So were you told anything about the manner as to how she passed away or what exactly led up to her passing?
Officially, no, we have not talked to anyone from the police or anybody in the medical field at all. Nothing. Nothing.
What was it that the hotel initially told you guys?
That Joe McCann, who she was traveling with, that he had found her and that they had taken her to the hospital.
And then a follow-up call from the hotel several hours later.
And I
relaying.
We just think it's very odd that our daughter is traveling with Joe and we don't hear anything from Joe. To me, that's very odd. And initial call that she got from Joe was 11 hours after something had transpired in the room. And that's very odd. 11 hours later, something had transpired and Joe just relayed to Yolanda that Ashlee was okay and she was stable and she was okay and don't worry about it.
But that she was at the hospital.
Yes. 11 hours later.
So have you spoken to him since and what has he been saying?
There has been no communication.
Wow, shocking. So, you know, as you've seen, the local report said that had claimed that she took her own life. Did you guys ever think that Ashlee had any mental health issues?
I would think that's farther from the truth. If you go to her page, you know, as you can see, she's a beacon of light. You know, she likes being on, like being in the camera. She was an influencer. You know, she loved her family.
She loved her family.
She loved her family.
What was her mindset like before going on this insane African birthday trip?
Excited and happy, and she was elated that she was traveling for her birthday to celebrate and be with who she was the love of her life.
And you guys said there's really been not much communication between you and her fiance, Joseph. What if you could say anything to him right now? What would you say?
We just want to, and we want to know what happened.
What is your understanding as to where his whereabouts are now, and why do you think he would be avoiding your calls?
We don't know. We're unsure right now. We're just trying to seek the answers.
Do you know if he's spoken to authorities at all?
We're not aware.
We're not aware.
We're not aware of that at all.
Because what I knew is we haven't spoken to them, so I'm not sure who they are talking to. It's one answer. You know, it's
our attempts to get information.
I'm so sorry you guys are going through this right now. That must be extremely confusing, especially if you are saying that she was so excited for this birthday trip, didn't really have any history of mental health issues. That's got to be extremely confusing and frustrating for you guys. I'm very sorry you're going through that.
So I wanted you guys to hear the family speak out on how they felt. Welcome in, Lil Peasy. Welcome in. I wanted you to be able to hear the family on how they felt. This is a really sad story when it comes to Ashlee. And what makes it even sadder is this is a time where, as a community, we should be sticking together for a young woman in our community. This should be a time where, matter of fact, you should have been proven her wrong. Feel me? Like, does that make sense? She's not the only black woman who is out here saying black men is doing some real trash behavior. Let's put it that way. She's not the only one. And it's really sad that there are a lot of women out here that feel that same way. but they're jumping on the bandwagon with everybody else just because you want to be in a number, just because you want to be counted in with the viral popular opinion instead of having an opinion of your own. There's a lot of women out here who are saying every day black men are embarrassing us. That don't mean they hate them. It mean they sick of some of their bull crap. And if black men would be honest, there's a lot of black men out here on bull crap. The same way there's a lot of black women out here on bull crap. The same way there's a lot of white men on bull crap. White women alike, Hispanic, look, whatever your flavor, everybody post-pandemic seems to be on bull crap. Pure male bovine feces. So why are we isolating Ashlee like she has some weird belief or thought process that hasn't been echoed over and over and over again? And what's even the greater problem is you have a lot of black men out here who won't date black women. But that's not a problem. Passport bros, that's not a problem. Love and hip hop, that's not a problem. Because last I checked on Love and Hip Hop, majority of the black men have Hispanic women, right? See, y'all have selective outrage. And that's what bothers me about the community. We sound deep and wonderful when we talk about black and proud and all black everything. It sounds good till you start seeing everything line up, until you actually see what people believe and not just what they say. It's cool when I do it. It's a problem when they do it, right? But I want you guys to check this out. This is a breakdown from a channel that I ran across today. Subscribed immediately because I love her accent. But this channel is called The Sauce. And she had a breakdown of this case. And I want us to check it out together. Let me know what you think. Let me start it over.
No one was ready for what just happened. C-Dance 2.0 just dropped, and it keeps your character consistent. Before this,
Hey yo, thanks for tuning into The Sauce, your source for celebrity news.
Hey yo, thanks for tuning into The Sauce, your source for celebrity news. Do me a favor and hit that like button, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, why don't you go ahead and do that too? Alright, so as you may or may not have already heard, Ashlee Jenae's family has created a GoFundMe to help with expenses for the family to travel to Africa so they can hopefully get down to the bottom of what really happened to their daughter. On the GoFundMe site, the family wrote, "Many of you have reached out asking how you can support our family during this unimaginable time, and we're so..."
Fair use.
Ashlee Robinson traveled to Zanzibar, Africa to celebrate her 31st birthday and got engaged during what should have been a joyful and memorable trip. Just days later, she was found unconscious in her villa at the Zuri Hotel and was rushed to a local hospital where her death was confirmed hours later. What was meant to be a dream became our family's worst nightmare. As we grieve, we're also navigating an ongoing investigation and the challenges of being thousands of miles away while trying to bring Ashlee home with dignity and seek answers. This fund is...
Let me fast forward a little bit. Hold on.
So just fast forward to around the 10-minute, 25-second mark. Interestingly, when you hear exactly what he said, it sheds a little bit more light on the case.
Tarehe 8 mwezi wa 4 majira ya saa 2:55 za usiku huko hoteli ya Zuri iliyoko Nungwi, wilaya Kaskazini A, mkoa wa Kaskazini Unguja, mwanamke ajulikanaye kwa jina la Ashlee Jenae Robinson, miaka 31, raia wa Marekani, ambaye alifikia kwenye hoteli hiyo ya Zuri katika shughuli zake za utalii akimiliki passport namba 67920035 alijaribu kujiua kwa kujinyonga kwa kutumia mkanda wa nguo rangi ya kijivu, ambapo aliufunga mkanda huo katika kabati la nguo lililoko katika chumba namba 25 alichofikia hotelini hapo. Mgeni huyo aliingia tarehe 4 mwezi wa 4 2026 akiwa na mchumba wake aitwaye Joseph Isaac Martin mwenye umri wa miaka 48, Marekani, ambaye naye alikuwa anaishi naye pamoja hapo kwenye hoteli ya Zuri, na kwa mujibu wa taarifa zao walitarajiwa kuondoka tarehe 10 mwezi wa 4 mwaka 2026. Siku ya tarehe 8 mwezi wa 4 2026 majira ya saa 12 za jioni kulitokea na mgogoro wa kimapenzi baina ya watu hao wawili, kwa maana huyu Ashlee pamoja na mpenzi wake Joseph. Mgogoro huo baina ya watu hao wawili ulitambulika na jirani ambaye alikuwa anaishi chumba namba 24, na yeye akatoa taarifa kwa uongozi wa hoteli akieleza kwamba majirani zake wamekuwa wakizozana kwa siku hiyo ya tarehe 8, lakini akaeleza zaidi kwamba tangu wamefika hapo wamekuwa wakiwa na mizozo ya mara kwa mara na wakiwa wanagombezana hapo ndani ya hicho chumba chao. Uongozi wa hoteli baada ya kupata taarifa hiyo ulikwenda kuwaona na kuwauliza kama kuna changamoto zozote wanazopitia au walizonazo, lakini baada ya kuona kweli hali inayojitokeza pale ni ya mizozo kati ya wawili hao, uongozi ukaamua ili kuweka hali ya utulivu na usalama kwenye ile hoteli na wageni wengine wasipate bugudha, kumhamisha yule mume wake au bwana wake aitwaye Joseph na kumpeleka kwenye eneo lingine ambalo ni chumba namba 65. Na nitoa ufafanuzi, nikizungumza chumba nazungumzia villas, wanaita villa, yani ni nyumba zile ambazo zinakuwa ni self contained. Kwa hiyo ile ilikuwa namba 25, wakamhamisha yule bwana kumpeleka namba 65. Ni umbali wa kutembea kwa miguu kama dakika 8 mpaka 10 kutoka hapo ambapo alikuwa awali kwenye hiyo nyumba namba 25. Baada ya
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking of.
My question would be, while we're waiting on this commercial to finish, hold on one second. My question would be, while we're waiting, well, it's finished now, but who exactly made the decision to move him to the other location, and how far away was it? Who made that decision? Was it the hotel management to move him to that one? Was it the only one available? Why that specific location? Was that location secured? Did they have security that was going to be watching? What exactly was the agreement when they decided to move him to a different location? That's my question.
Huduma kama kupuliza dawa au kama kuna mtu ana changamoto yoyote anahitaji huduma ya kihoteli, basi anaweza akasaidiwa. Mhudumu huyo alikwenda pale mapema kwanza majira ya saa 1:30, akakutana na mhusika kwa maana huyo Ashlee na kutaka kumuuliza kama anahitaji huduma yoyote. Akamwambia kwamba nitahitaji huduma, lakini naomba uje baada ya dakika 10, lakini kwa sasa hivi naomba uniazime chaja yako, maana naona simu yangu chaji yake kidogo ina changamoto. Yule mhudumu, jina tunalihifadhi kwa sasa kwa sababu tunaendelea na uchunguzi, alichofanya yeye ni kumpa ile chaja na kuendelea kutoa huduma kwa wateja wa vyumba vingine akaingia chuma namba 24.
All right, so you're seeing that this is the official press conference, and I'm going to read you exactly what that man just said, word for word, with the exception of changing the words that you can't say on certain apps. All right, so he said, on April 8th at 8:55 at the Zuri Hotel in the Nungwi North A District, North Unguja region, a 31-year-old American woman identified as Ashlee Jenae Robinson was staying at the Zuri Hotel for tourism, holding passport number 67 bop 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 bop. She attempted sui by hanging using a belt, a gray one. She tied it to the wardrobe in room 25, where she was staying at the hotel. The guest checked in on April 4th, 2026, with her fiancé Joseph Isaac McCann, a 48-year-old, an American staying with her at the Zuri Hotel. According to reports, they were scheduled to depart on April 10th, 2026. On April 8th, 2026, around 6 p.m., a dispute broke out between the two of them. Ashlee and her partner Joseph were involved in a dispute that was noticed by a neighbor staying in room 24, who reported it to hotel management. He stated that his neighbors had been arguing on the 8th, but added that since their arrival, they had been fighting constantly inside their room. Upon receiving the report, hotel management went to speak to them to ask if they were having any issues or facing any difficulties.
My question would be if they was able to hear what this argument or disagreement was about. See, that's kind of important to this story. Was that because y'all know neighbors be nosy, especially in 2026, because they looking for something they can post. I wonder if they was able to hear exactly what they were arguing about. Do y'all agree with the lady that we listened to from TikTok? Do you think it was about other women? Think it was about other men? Who do you think it was about? Arguments that lead to tragedy. It's very important to understand what the argument was about. If you negate the argument, you negate the tragedy. Because 9 times out of 10, whatever the argument was about is what led to the tragedy. And it's going to let you know who was the aggressor in the argument. But without details, see, we said the same thing with the Tyrone Davis case. Without the details of the argument, you don't know who the aggressor is in the situation. But let's continue.
But after witnessing the situation and the conflict between the two, management decided to maintain peace and security and avoid disturbing other guests, to relocate her partner Joseph and moved him to another area, specifically room 65. He needed clarification about the room. I was referring to the villas, what they call villas. Those are the self-contained units, so he was in number 25. They moved him to number 65. It's within walking distance, about 8 to 10 minutes away from the original location at the house number 25. After a while, about 2 to 3 hours later, at 8:55, one of the staff members who usually makes evening rounds to spray for bugs or assist guests with any needs they might have. The attendant arrived early, around 7:30. He met with the person in question, Ashlee, and asked if she needed any assistance. Ashlee replied, "I do need service, but please come back. But for now, could I borrow your charger? My phone is having some trouble charging." The attendant, whose name we're withholding for now as our investigation is ongoing, he simply gave her the charger and went to serve other guests. He went into rooms 24 and 26, but then he remembered he needed to go back to room 25 where Ashlee was staying. He returned about 20 minutes later, knocked on the door, but it wouldn't open. No one answered. But the lights inside were off. Since he had a key, a spare for emergencies, he found the door locked. So he used it to check inside. He found it dark inside, but as he tried to close...
But I still don't understand this. I really don't care what you say. What you supposed to go back to get your charger. Okay, cool. At what point did it become okay when she didn't answer the door to just open it? What made you decide to use your key to open the door? Like, again, we're talking about a different continent, but still, if I'm in a hotel room, what if I'm asleep? What if I'm resting? What if I'm getting me some ill nana? Quietly. What is the protocol? Or you just using a key and opening the door and just coming in? Something about that to me is just off.
Closed the door. To look around further, he heard a thud to his left, where the closets were. When he looked, he saw her. Ashlee, the guest, hanging inside the closet. She had used a drawstring from a sweater, the kind you tie around the waist. She tied it to the hotel closet rod. You know, how closets have the metal rod for the hangers? That's where she tied it and blinked herself. He found her there in a state of distress and immediately rushed out. The attendant raised the alarm and hotel management arrived on the scene immediately. They quickly moved her to provide first aid and rushed her to the nearest hospital for emergency care. After receiving initial treatment, the patient was transferred to Ampola Hospital located in the western city for further treatment. While undergoing treatment on April 9th of 2026, at approximately 3 p.m., she passed away while still under medical care. The investigation into this incident is still ongoing. As I speak to doctors along with the experts that are working in Lumumba Government Hospital, to conduct a post-mortem, meaning the death investigation, and once the full details are available from those reports, we will be able to determine exactly what happened at the scene and the underlying cause. This guest, Ashlee, was unalived by hanging. I urge the media and the public, when incidents like this occur, to please seek accurate information from the relevant authorities rather than relying on sources that are unreliable, as this can cause confusion. What actually happened there is not what others might think. So, let me just say that the police, working with Lumumba Hospital and other scientific departments, are continuing our investigation to get to the bottom of this and determine exactly what happened. Should it be proven that a crime has been committed, we will take action against those responsible. To that end, the deceased husband or fiance, Mr. Joe, is currently with us for further questioning. As we speak, a team of investigators are interviewing him to determine exactly what happened. Regarding the death investigation, we're working closely with the family, who have sent a representative, a coroner's office authorized by the U.S. Embassy in Dar es Salaam. We've seen the authorization, and a copy has been sent to the hospital for the Lumumba government to authorize as granted by the deceased family.
Now, here's my question, right? Removing the whole racial thing out of it and just dealing with the fact that she was found hanging, right? How many people do you know self-delete by hanging? As generally a last resort type thing. Do you possibly think that whatever they were arguing about was so bad that it would make her want to take her own life? Because, you know, we got to eliminate stuff in order to get to the finality of a matter. So do you think that whatever happened, he threatened to take money away, he broke up with her, he didn't want to be with her, she found out he was building a life with somebody else, whatever the case may be, do you think there's the potential that she self-deleted and hung herself? Do you even think it's an option that she did this to herself?
This institution to oversee the death investigation. Okay, so now I have a better understanding of what happened, and that's why it's always important to get your own translation. Because the first translation made it seem as if after her and Joe had the argument, she was outside walking around the grounds and she happened to run into a hotel worker and just so happened to ask him for a charger. And at that time, he asked her if she wanted a service, and she just so happened to arbitrarily say, okay, stop by in 15 minutes.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2. All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly how much your
minutes, we'll see. But that's not what happened. The hotel worker was making his rounds, and he knocked on her door and asked her if she wanted the service. She said, yes, I do, but can you do it in 10 minutes? Which is why he felt comfortable unlocking the door when he returned 55 minutes later, because she already confirmed the service. And now, he has an alibi, because if he provided the service to the people on either side of her, they can attest to where he was. So, he returns to her villa, and when he walks through the door, he's looking around because it's dark, and he's like, ooh, this is weird, and then he hears the thud. Now, the thud happens because when he moves the door, it actually affects the closet, because whoever put her in there didn't put her in there in a stable way, because they were in a rush. So
now here's my question, and I asked it yesterday as well, but can a person self-delete in 10 minutes? That's my question. Can a person be unalived by strangulation in 10 minutes? Because if we look at the timeline, he would have only had 20 minutes in which to operate, right? Now, we don't know the timeline between the time that he was moved to the other villa and the timeline that the attendant left the charger. Like, that amount of time is going to make a difference too, because if it was over 10 minutes, he would have had enough time to come back. Another question I would have would be the cell phone that she used, right? Are there any messages between him and her on the phone? With him saying, you know, I'm on my way, I'm gonna choke shit, you know. Is there any messages from him on the phone to her? Her on the phone to him? Right? Another big question. Y'all, if y'all have questions that y'all feel like aren't being answered, throw them on the chat. I'm gonna put them on the screen. What other question did I have? It's a third one. I can't think of it right now, but let's continue.
So she lurches forward, and that's when he sees her, he takes off, and it says that he sounded the alarm. It didn't say that he ran back to like the security desk. So he may not have ran that far. And sounding the alarm could mean that he actually did call it in over a walkie-talkie. All right, so now that I have a better understanding of the situation, I'm ready to speculate. I'm almost 95% certain that the hotel worker didn't have anything to do with it, but it was in fact Joe. And Joe returned to her villa, and then they got into an argument, and he accidentally murked her by mistake. Didn't mean to, but he did it by mistake. It was either with the hands or with the pillow. Now, after he did it, he thought she was gone, and he panicked. So he grabbed the first thing that he could find, which was the belt off the rope, and then he staged the crime. Now, the reason why he didn't use one of those overhanging beams is because he didn't have time to close the curtains, and he knew that if he left her out there like that, somebody who was walking by the villa could readily see her. So
Now, I'm glad you said this, Progressive, because it made me think of my other question. My other question is, a young lady of her caliber, she's an influencer, she's with a man with money. She also has money. I need y'all to remember this. This isn't some girl from the hood that just happened to find a come up. No, she's a video vixen. She's a model. The girl has money. She has motion and traction. So my question would be, why would a girl like that not have access to a charger of her own? Right? I mean, think about it. Because girls who are influencers are always posting. They're always using their phone to post videos, to post pictures, to capture moments. You're telling me a girl like that didn't have another charger? Didn't have about 3 or 4 of them packed in her bag? Didn't have an extra battery pack, power pack in her bag for her phone to charge? Why do you think Ashlee would have needed a phone charger? Let me know. Might not be anything at all, but it might be everything.
he went for the closet, because the closet stash would ensure that he had at least a couple of hours to even a few days to make his escape and have an alibi. But he made a few mistakes, because when he was rushing to put her in the closet and wrap everything up and make it look like it was all nice, neat, and in a bow, he accidentally didn't know that she was alive, and then also, he didn't put her in there right, and there was still a little slack left on the belt, which is why she survived for so long. But when the hotel worker came and adjusted the door, that actually made her lunge forward and put pressure on the belt. Now, of course, sheer speculation, I'm guessing. I would say that after he did it, he slid out the back doors, over the patio, past the jacuzzi, and went through the tropical trees to get back to his villa. And if he didn't go through the sliding door, I'm guessing that he actually shimmied over the wall in that outdoor shower by using one of those bamboo ladders that are in there for decor.
Whoever said the room doesn't matter when you're on vacation, lied, okay? When I tell you, I look forward to the rooms when I travel, because that's where the real fun is at, okay? Like, look at this view. Look at this view. Little hot tub, relaxing little area.
Okay, so at the Zuri Zanzibar Hotel, they actually use those digital bands to open up the doors, and now we keep a record of where each and every guest is going. So he didn't use that. He shimmied through the back door and back out the back door or over that wall, because the Zuri Zanzibar encourages indoor-outdoor living, and they purposely don't put any air conditioning in that main living space to encourage the guests to open those doors. So he probably was able to beat the system.
They're fully air conditioned, but the living room area is not air conditioned, but they do have a ceiling fan. So it's really to encourage clients to have an indoor-outdoor living experience by opening up the doors.
All right, so if you notice, Joe's original story about finding Ashlee while he was with security does not align with the story that the hotel is telling, because Joe said that he found Ashlee when he was with security, but that's not what the hotel is saying. So I would beg to guess that Joe is lying, and he was surprised to find out that Ashlee was still alive, so he had to all of a sudden play the part of like the mourning fiance. And that's why it took him so long to call her mother, because he had to come up with a story. So when he called Ashlee's mother, he told her that he was the one that found Ashlee in the presence of other people to take the smoke off of him. And he probably didn't think that the family was willing to go down there to Tanzania. And while Ashlee was in the hospital fighting for her life, he was probably over there praying that she would expire, thinking to himself, God dang it, I would have gotten away with this if it wasn't for these pesky hotel workers. Listen, let me tell you something. Based on what we know now, and if no other bombshell evidence drops to turn his case on its head, this is my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Now, of course, Joe is innocent until proven guilty in a Tanzanian court. So, these are my personal thoughts, and this is just what I think happened based on what I know so far. And I also believe that if Ashlee was able to convey to her mother what her and Joe were arguing about the whole week, then that's going to be the piece of information that cracks this case wide open. Now, with that being said, in yesterday's video, I was sharing with you what Joe Budden said about his friend Ashlee, but at the last minute, all of the clips with Joe Budden had to be cut out for copyright reasons. But I think that what Joe had to say was very important, and I really wanted y'all to hear it. So I think I found a creative way to recreate what he said so that you get the gist. And the reason why I'm not just going to read it myself is because I think that what Joe said hits different when it comes from a man's perspective.
I understand none of the romantic choices. But if that's your homegirl and you love her and they vouch for that person, Ashlee and homeboy was at my birthday dinner. Yeah, they were there. I invited Ashlee the last 2 years, so this year I made it a point to call her like, yo, this is the year. What's up? You gonna make it? And she was like, yeah, you know, I gotta check on Mama Ham. We gotta drop off the stepkids, pick them up from school during spring break, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm on the phone like, girl, for real? You over there playing stepmommy? But I'm just saying, she repped that dude. A lot of people got an agenda on the internet, and I know what it looks like, white guy, young black girl, but she loved him, and by all accounts, he loved her too. They came to the party, I met him, shook his hand. They stayed to the side mostly, didn't move around too much, but they came. I spoke to Ashlee 2 weeks ago, and when people say,
there's no way she would do something like this,
and her parents said the same thing, I get it. Sometimes depression don't show signs, but I also don't see a world where this young woman who was excited about her life, her man, her birthday, her family, she was making plans. That's what I'm saying. She had plans. So I'm not saying it couldn't have happened. I'll wait for the investigation. The people who know her and love her, it's tough to believe. But the reports are developing in a way that seems consistent with some past theories and some past situations we've seen. So I just want the truth to come out and justice to prevail, man. But this is rough, and I hate what this is turning into. The agenda-driven internet conversation about her, that's the part that's disgusting. Let a family mourn, let them grieve, show some humanity. Whatever people think of her, everything I've heard from you and others, she was an amazing person. But what I'm seeing online is nasty. There's people that just want to attach themselves to anything viral. Then you got people that are just insensitive to death. Some people just miserable, yo. They sit online all day looking for something to project onto. So when something like this happens, they latch on and spread negativity. Enough is enough. And a lot of this stuff just ain't even true. Yeah. And there was a time when people were saying things, but that was a phase. I seen Ashlee around different artists. She was outside, she connected with people. She loved black men. She loved black men. She loved white men too. She loved people. She was energy, a bolt of light in the 31 years she lived. She just wanted to travel, shop, eat, listen to R&B. Stay out the way. Maybe listen to some good tea. My good tea sister gone.
So now that was the sauce, giving her breakdown and her opinion on what she feels like happened. She also included Joe Budden, who recently came out and said that he knows Ashlee or knew Ashlee when she was still living. And again, I say, once again, this isn't a black thing, white thing. The sooner we get away from doing that, stop worrying about color and take the focus so much off color, we can see so much more clearly. We looking through dim, foggy, damn glasses because all we see is color. So we can't even see the trees. We can't see the forest. We can't see the streets. We can't see the vehicles because all we see is color. Right? Give me 1 second, y'all. Pause before we go to the next show. Fill up your glasses with your drinks. I'll be right back.
Every word I say now, honey on my lip. Cruising through the city like a shadow in the mist. Night rider on the town, every move a gift. Champagne and silk, let it slide, let it drip. Voice like a dagger and a kiss, same tip. Taste of my freedom when you feel this grip. Night rider on the town, champagne on my lip. Sit back. Champagne on my tongue, silk on my skin, undone. You lean in, say my name like a secret, like a sin. Coconut blow on your collarbone, salt on your lips, I taste home. You say right, let the night decide. I
All right, y'all, we are back. Thank you for pausing with me. I wanted to take a moment to show you guys the Zuri Zanzibar Hotel. Hold on, let me make it larger. This is the actual website for the hotel. Let's see. Let's go gallery, see if we can see some pictures, some videos. Hold on. You pour that fizz on the curve of my neck, I call that liquid respect. You taste like someone in a slow pour. Confidence dripping to the towel floor. It's making me resize it. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, here we go. That's good enough. All right, so now we can take, oh, don't want me to do that either. Hold on, y'all. Here, let me do this. Hold on. There we go. So this is the Zuri Zanzibar Hotel. So this is one of the rooms. We're able to see a virtual look of it. This is the 3-bedroom ocean view. Lord, that wood is gorgeous. 2-bedroom ocean view. You're able to get a little look around. Beautiful. Wouldn't y'all love to wake up in this? Look at these trees. Sheesh. Seating outside. The ocean, so you have the indoor, outdoor. You have the doors so that you can shut it, close it off. More views. See the bedroom area. Canopy style. Oh, I love a canopy bed. Canopy style bed. How could a place this beautiful turn tragic? Look at the shower. Ladies, you know we love a good shower. This is the outside. Chairs, beaches, private pool. Just beautiful. This is the outside looking in. See the little indoor pool, jacuzzi maybe. Everything about this says enjoyment, relaxation, says vacation, says romantic. Nothing about this says murder. Nothing. Nothing about this should say murder. That's why y'all gotta be careful who you letting in your life. Look at this exterior photos again. Just gorgeous. This is where she was when she took her last breath. Lost her life in paradise. Because that's definitely what this is. Maybe not for you, but it's pretty close to what it would look like for me. Let's look at some more.
Champagne and silk drip off my tongue, gold on my wrists, moon on my lungs. You leaning close, soft on your skin.
The virtual look, it looks like the same place. And as you see, this is like 360 all the way around, just open. Well, almost 360. But just open, just beautiful. Seats out here, you come outside, have a seat. Jacuzzi. Card table, because y'all know that's what that is. Get the people together to play some cards. That spades got to happen at that table. Lounge chairs. If you look up, look, just trees and sky, just open. Maybe an animal or two come out. This is down near the water. Turn around and get that view. It's the outside. It's a beautiful hotel.
Champagne and silk, I'm empowered when I sip. Every word I say now, honey on my lip. Cruising through the city like
Trying to see.
night rider on the town, every move a gift. Champagne and silk, let it slide, let it drip. Voice like a dagger and a kiss, same tip. Taste of my freedom when you feel this.
More pictures of the room. Trying to see if they have any images where I can see the closet. Let's see if we come in the room. So, you got the bathroom there. I'm spinning to see what would be considered the closet. I would say another outside, but everything is outside. So this is the door. And this is Clove 47. So this is the door. I don't see a closet area. You got sinks. You got an area over here. But I am not sure in these villas where the closet area would be. But I wanted you to be able to take a look at the Zuri Zanzibar so that you can see how beautiful it is and to see where she lost her life at. We are going to be following this story more with Ashlee. Very sad story. Young lady lost her life. I would say in love, but we don't know that. Keep telling y'all, all of this is a stage. Only believe what can be proven. Not what people tell you. But drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this story. Right now it's all speculation. Really no facts out except for the fact of how she was found. Except for the fact that she was there on a romantic trip and she didn't make it home. Sounds real familiar, don't it? But this time it's a woman and not a man. Drop in the comments and let me know what you think happened to Ashlee. And please remember, we are not having any discussions about color because this is a whole lot bigger than color. This is about a life that was lost. And if you can't see that, then you don't need to be in the city. The Champagne City, that is. Let's get into our next case. Child, this one been a long time coming. Do y'all hear me? A long time coming. We started covering the David case when the David case first broke. We stopped covering it for the most part because there really wasn't any new information that was coming out, and I really wanted to cover it when there was enough to cover a full story on it. So we're going to do a quick recap for anyone who has not been following the David story all the way through, and then we're going to get into the updates, right? So This is the story of a young lady. She was 14 when her body was found. She turned 15 shortly afterwards. But her body was found in the frunk, which is the front truck the front trunk in a Tesla. The trunk is in the front of the car instead of the back. When we originally covered this story, there was a young lady in our chat that stated that in a Tesla, in the front of the Tesla, the trunk is actually refrigerated. So it made us question whether or not this body had just been placed in the frunk or whether it had been there for a while, and the reason why the car had been moved from one place to the next was simply because it was turned off. And in order for the frunk to work, if in fact it does have a freezer or a refrigerator in it, it would need to be turned on and moving, I would assume. Right? So let's get into this timeline of events. Discovery and location. Her body was discovered at a tow yard by tow yard workers who noticed a foul odor coming from an impounded Tesla, and the police responded. Human remains were found inside the vehicle at the tow lot in Hollywood, Hollyweird, as we like to call it in the city. The discovery date reported by multiple outlets is September 8th, 2025. Now, the gentleman who is on the screen, I did not know who this was until this case broke, but he is actually an artist, rap artist, singer, whatever you want to call him, but he is an artist. He was actually on tour, or supposed to be on tour, at the time the body was found. Let's continue. The Tesla was registered to David Anthony Burke, who performs under the name D4vd or David, who was a rising singer/rapper. Media and police reports show the registration links the car to him. His representatives say he is cooperating with investigators. Authorities have not charged him. Right? Now, this was back when this broke. Victim identification. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner identified the remains as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, who had been reported missing from Riverside County on April 5th, 2024. The ME's office has not yet released an official cause of death. Reporting indicates the death is being investigated as a homicide pending coroner results, right? So she was identified as 15 years old. Remember, she turned 15 years old, after she was found. She had been reported missing from her family since April 5th. Now, we had a big problem with that, because how is it that your child, who is only 14 years old, is missing and you're not screaming it to high heavens? By the time this story broke, there should have been so many reports of her missing and you sending for her and sending police to different locations that they should have had a catalog of calls regarding this missing child. Condition of the remains. Where inside car. Reports describe the remains as severely decomposed, and media say they were found in the Tesla's front trunk area, the frunk, and have been inside for an extended period. Remember when we came out and said it would have had to have been something that kept her body frozen for her to have been somewhere for that long and just now starting to stink. If in fact the frunk is refrigerated or has a freezer, it would make sense that it's set in the heat in Hollyweird in the summer and started to melt or unthaw because the car had been shut off and hadn't been on for the freezer or refrigerator to work, allegedly. So some outlets report the body was wrapped in a plastic bag. Those forensic details are in initial reporting, but still subject to official coroner confirmation. Another thing that was stated but was not confirmed was that her body was dismembered at the time when she was found. That was floating around. Where it came from, we don't know. I still would really love to know where all these sources are Remember, TMZ were the ones that broke the case, and that's when we started questioning TMZ and their sources, because how you know? And how does the person who told you know? And have you submitted that name to the police so that they can discuss with the police what they know? All these tipsters out here. Because I haven't heard one conversation about the tipster that tipped TMZ off as to who the body was and how they knew who she was. Let's continue. The Tesla had been reportedly abandoned in the Hollywood Hills and later towed. It was at the impound lot for a short period of time. Go back. Before the odor was reported. Exact timeline when the car was first abandoned, towed is still being clarified in reporting. LAPD is investigating. No arrests have been announced, and authorities have emphasized coroner testing and forensic work. The artist public partnerships and events were immediately affected. Some brands paused promos and a concert was canceled while the investigation proceeds. Public reaction and social media attention have been intense. People wanted to know where this baby was. Unverified details. So tabloid industry outlets have noted a matching finger tattoo reportedly shared between the victim and the artist. That detail was reported in entertainment outlets, but has been confirmed by police as linking, but has not been confirmed by police as linking anyone to the death. Treat such tattoo rumor details cautiously until investigators confirm. One thing that I can say about this case is the investigators were completely closed lip. They weren't talking about anything, giving out notes, press, nothing. They weren't talking about this at all. So everything that was online was speculative, or it was released by TMZ from a quote unquote source, should I say. So, what's still unknown? And why is this still fluid? Well, the cause and manner of death. Awaiting coroner, toxicology, and autopsy. Until the ME's final report, we don't have an official cause. How the remains got into the car and when. Forensic timeline, death, time of death, time placed in the vehicle. Require lab work. So it's going to take time. Whether the vehicle's registered owner was involved. Police say David is cooperating. Being the registered owner is not the same as being a suspect. Investigators must establish chain of custody, ownership history, who had access, and for how long. See, these were the things that probably took the investigation so long, because just because it's your vehicle doesn't mean that you were the one that committed the act. What if you allowed someone to use your vehicle and they did the act in your vehicle and left the evidence in your vehicle, but you didn't have anything to do with it? Lil Peasy said her parents wasn't looking for her. They sold their baby to that boy, allegedly. Lee. Yeah, allegedly. Do you know why I can borderline agree with you on this? Because there's been so much confusion centered, around when this baby went missing. She said the baby went missing in April, but there was video footage released that we covered that actually showed her at the house. Then there was conversations with a brother that discussed that they knew who she was with. So is she missing, or did you know who she was with? Which could furthermore explain why there wasn't a war cry put out for your baby to come back home, and you know your baby is with this grown man. Them selling their child or benefiting monetarily makes a lot of sense to me when you think about the fact that no real mother, but then there's the problem, because a lot of today's incubators are not mothers. No, they're energy succubuses. That's what they are. They're sexual deviants that all they want is your pecker, and then you pop the baby up in them, and now you stuck with Lulu for 18 to 21. Yeah. So we still don't have the cause or the manner of death. Tow yard workers Did we cover this one? Yes. So, all right. Another thing that I want to show you is when we looked, we did a whole search and we looked at the house and the area. And it became interesting to me because the more we looked in this area, the more they started to redact or restrict items from the area. So it completely went from having images of the area, you could see the house and everything along it, to now everything is completely blurred out. This is an aerial view of the house where the car was parked at before it was towed to the tow lot where David was supposed to live at. Again, another one of the discussions that we had, one of our favorite phrases, power corrupts, absolute power absolutely corrupts. And the danger that happens when you take these babies, because that's what they are. You take these children and you throw fame and money at them without any boundaries, without any guidance, without any parameters. Just, hey, it's your money. Have fun. Go do you. Now you got kids running around like a kitty in a candy store with money and power. With the money and power to do anything they want, including bring sick, twisted ideologies to life because you have the money and the power to do it. Money, the love of money is the root of all evil. Money and power in the hands of the immature or in the hands of the destructive is a recipe for destruction. So the questions that I had in the David case, the gap, where was Celeste all this time, still needs an answer. Who fed, housed, and protected her still needs an answer. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that they said was that she had been gone since 2024. So that would have made her 12, 13 when she disappeared. And you telling me you wasn't searching the globe for your 13-year-old? Baby, I would have had a warrant or a subpoena for every traffic cam in the city over mine. Y'all new age mamas worry me. And this is why I keep saying our children are in trouble. Where there are public sightings never reported. Did anybody see her in public? In public with him? When was the last time she stopped being seen in public? Not if it was a contract. Understood. That makes sense. Let me move me out the way. Hold on, y'all. All right, so the body was discovered September 8th in a Tesla registered to David at Hollywood Toll after the car was towed from a Los Angeles street 2 days earlier. A neighbor recalls the Tesla parked in front of and then in other spots near the Hollywood Hills house that police searched. Now remember, the reason they say other spots was because someone was moving this car back and forth across the street. So if someone was moving this car back and forth across the street, it would make you ask how long the body had been in the car if they knew the body was in the car when they were moving it back and forth. My opinion, they absolutely knew the body was in the car. That's why they were moving it back and forth, because if in fact the front was refrigerated, they would have had to. The car would have needed to have been running for the refrigerator to kick in and to kick up. Who reported the vehicle as abandoned on what date and at which exact location? Do parking citations, ALPRs hit, or neighborhood cams show who last moved or parked the Tesla before the tow? What does the Tesla's internal log, doors open, seat sensor, key fob IDs, mobile key access, what was shown in the last 30 days? Tow yard chain of custody, who opened the front and when? Right? Let's continue. These just questions I have. Hold on. All right. Residence search. No photos placing her there per reports. LAPD searched the Hollywood Hills home tied to David. Reporting says they were checking drains for possible blood/tissue. Rolling Stone places his stay near where the Tesla was towed. Now, another question that I had is, what does his name stand for? That would be my question. David, D4vd. If D stands for David, 4 stands for 4, what do you think VD stands for? Do you think this is an acronym for something else? Personally, I do, but I'm trying to figure out what. And if finding out what that stands for could possibly answer a lot of questions in this case. Lease occupancy. Who paid the lease? Who actually lived there week to week? That would be a question. That would let you know how many people were in the house and when. Right? Visitor logs, deliveries. Do any of those happen in this location? Celeste or any minors at the near house? Are there any time stamps? Plumbing forensics. Were any drains, traps, or clean out lines positive for human biological material? If so, whose? Were they checked is the question. Because y'all know I'm starting to question the validity of some of these police officers after witnessing how horribly they handled and are handling the Nancy case. The Nancy Guthrie and Savannah case. Horrible. So now I would have to ask in this question, in this situation, did they search the drains? Did you swab them? Everything leading out this house should have been checked. Electronic access, door codes, smart locks, Wi-Fi connection logs. Do they show her device associating with that network at any period of time? Have we done any forensic analysis on all phones attached? Manager included, because as you saw on the thumbnail, there's no way he did this alone. So who else was attached? There's no way that he's a part of a major record company, major record label, and they don't have eyes on him at all times. There is no way. So who else is involved in this? I'm going to tell you the same thing like I told you with the Diddy case. This goes a lot higher than you all think and that you all know. And if this case goes all the way through, I will be shocked. Said what I said. If this boy makes it through this case, convicted, makes it to prison to serve out his life sentence, I will be shocked. I will be. But drop in the comments and let me know what you think. Timeline. Avoid assumptions about a year in the car. Cause, manner of death is still not publicly released. Her whereabouts being between going missing in 2024 and September 25 remain unclear. What are the last verified platform side logins or pings from Celeste's phone, accounts, date, device ID, and city? Now we need to get into her electronics, her social media. This is a young girl. There's no way a girl her age, 12, 13, 14, or 15, is not on social media. There's no way, unless she doesn't have access. So when was the last time they saw her active with any of her profiles online on social media? And most 14-year-olds usually have girlfriends. Absolutely. Where are her friends at? Thank you for saying that, Lil Peasy. I didn't even think about her friends. When was the last time her friends spoke to her, saw her, video chatted with her, heard her voice on the telephone, saw her in person? Who knows? Baby could have been born to be sold. Ain't that a mess? He gonna get Jarvis butts considering who all connected to this boy who started off as a streamer. Absolutely, Niecy. He started off as a streamer and decided to make music and blew up from making music. Who all do you think is connected to this, and how big do you think it goes? Do you think this has ties to the music label that he's a part of? Because what I found out, and I don't know if I cover it. No, I don't think it's in here. But I will find it for the next time we cover it, is all these music labels are connected. All of them. They're all under the same umbrella. All of them. All of your favorite artists, all of the ones that you hate, they're all connected. All of these labels fall under the same label. It's crazy. There's a digital footprint. And if there's not, it leads down a whole other rabbit hole. Absolutely progressive. Do carrier records, transit cards, or school medical touches place her anywhere specific after she was reported missing? That's the question too. How much involvement did the school have? Did they notify a truancy officer? Did they notify the school? Did they get the police involved? Were there any records of them saying, hey, baby girl ain't been back to school? Can somebody tell us where she is? Is she signed up in another school? Can you show us the transfer documents? Because no one's requested any documentation. This is another one of those areas where schools fall short at, because schools don't step in when they should. They seem to step in at all the wrong times, but the times they really should, they don't. CPS as well. There was no CPS involvement with a 12, 13-year-old gone missing. None. 14-year-old gone missing. Nothing. Nobody was concerned about this baby being missing until her body was found. Cross-map David's travel tour schedule with those verified pings, any overlaps by date and neighborhood. Were there welfare checks or prior missing person reports that intersect with locations tied to him or his circle? Digital evidence, devices seized. Police removed electronics from the search residence. Details not public. I told y'all the police ain't talking about nothing. Do any seized devices contain communications with Celeste, texts, DMs, cloud backups? Were there delete attempts, wipe, chats, files, shreds, factory resets, timestamp after the tour, the discovery? Is there any movement in her phone after she was found inside this vehicle? Matter of fact, was there any movement in her phone within the last 30, 60, 90 days of her body being found? Do the devices show route history, rideshare receipts, or file metadata aligning with her disappearance window? Did she take a Uber, a Lyft, anything? Do she have, because you know a lot of people have the walk meter on their phone where it can time their steps. Do she have that turned on? Did she have a smartwatch? Most teenagers, young girls these days, have smartwatches. Did she have a smartwatch that could give off a location that even if she didn't have her phone, her watch was still on? Witness and circle questions. What people noticed or didn't? For neighbors, roommates, staff. Who saw a teen at the property? And what explanation, if any, was given for her presence or absence? Matter of fact, how many times, if you did see her there? For management or security, did anyone in the team note or move the Tesla while it sat on the street? On whose instruction? So who told you to move the vehicle? Who moved the vehicle? How many times was it moved? Matter of fact, when was the instruction given to start moving the vehicle? There's a question. Why wasn't it parked inside? I think we covered that. I think he had a studio set up in the garage, which is why it wasn't parked in the garage. But when did it start getting moved? Medical examiner forensics. Body was severely decomposed. Remains released to the family. Cause not publicly disclosed as of today. Can cause or manner of death be determined despite composition? Toxicology, entomology, isotope analysis, any evidence of movement post-mortem, lack or presence of lividity consistent with time in the front, any trace fibers, adhesives, or environmental signatures that tie back to the searched house or the street where the car sat. Like, these are the questions that we got to ask to get to see. If you don't get them talking, you can't get them to lie. You can't catch them in a lie. You can't get them to lie. So you need people talking, just like with Lulu. Lulu ain't talking. That's why y'all can't catch her in a lie. Same with this situation. David did no talking. So you can't catch him in anything because he ain't saying nothing. I wish you can do a reaction to true crime with strategic eyes. He works in this field. He's too unlike TMZ, who are blogger news. Oh, wow. Thank you. And welcome in, Bernice King Real. Everybody, please drop some champagne glasses in the chat for Bernice King Real. And welcome our newest guest to the Champagne City and make her feel welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. I definitely will. You know what? Let me set it up for tomorrow. I'll go check it out because I do watch a lot of videos from True Crime with Strategic Eyes. So I will definitely do a reaction to it. Welcome in and thank you for joining. But definitely Trace Fibers, and I believe he's a detective or a former detective or something like that too. So I love seeing his take on stuff like this. And the last one, online footprint. Like we said before, Reddit, Discord, chatter exists, authenticity verifies. Subreddit, moderation, lockdown is reported. Discord leaks are largely unverified. For posts or screenshots cited online, can anyone produce original links, exports to prove provenance? Can anyone prove online which logins were her, which names were her, which ones weren't? Do platforms subpoenas return account-to-account contacts between her and him or his handlers with server IDs or message IDs? Did the police even look to subpoena any of this information from these social media sites that she appeared on with David? We showed videos of her appearing on videos with him. Was that subpoena? To see how far back this goes. If anything, she was a child with an adult. That was enough in itself to bring charges and hold him until all of this is figured out. And not give him the opportunity to get rid of evidence, to get rid of, to delete stuff, to remove items. Even when we began discussing this case and I was looking on Reddit for information, a lot of the posts that I was going to share in my videos have been deleted, have been removed because he had deleted them. Poor police work. Because he should have been barred offline immediately. Matter of fact, he should have been in jail. Number one, because what are you doing with this child? Absolutely, Zach. You can't handle the truth. That's why we got it in our intro. Before we get into our Discord information, I do want to check out this video from Law and Crime. Actually, it's going to be two videos that we're going to take a look at with them discussing him getting arrested. And also, it looks like the case has gotten a little messy.
We are following major breaking news tonight. Singer David has been arrested in connection to the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas, according to the LAPD. This is a case that stretches back more than 2 years to when she was last seen alive. Her decomposed body found in the trunk of David's Tesla late last year. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. All right, let's get to this breaking news coming in right now from Los Angeles. A bombshell announcement by the LAPD. I want you to take a look right here. This is the post that was put out by the public information officer with the Los Angeles Police Department on social media announcing the singer, known as David, had been arrested by homicide detectives in LA, quote, for the murder of Celeste Rivas. Now, David, his real name is David Burke. He is now being held without bond, and he hasn't been charged as of yet. The LAPD says that his case will be presented to the DA on Monday for filing consideration. We're going to go over the process here in just a moment. This is a case that has taken months to get to this point. I know so many of you have been following this, and now it seems like the next
Oh
step.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. Grab a glass and raise it high in the air. We have a new subscriber to the Champagne City. Throw some champagne glasses in the chat, some champagne bottles, some streamers, some lipsticks, some toenail paint, some dancing ladies, whatever you will. It's a celebrate. Throw some in the chat for our newest subscriber, baby. Welcome to the Champagne City.
A major step is still something that's going to take some time before we learn a lot of information about this case. And we'll be talking to former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani about that here in just a moment. But as we focus now on this announcement, it may feel like a long time coming because David was announced as a suspect in November of 2025. Now, before we get into what will happen next, I do want to get you up to speed on this case because it is one that has been going on in some ways months, in other ways years. According to the LAPD, this all started in September of 2025, and that is when officers responded to an impounded lot in Hollywood after there were reports of a foul odor coming from a vehicle, a Tesla. Now that vehicle, it had been towed days earlier after it was found on a street, abandoned, it seemed, in Los Angeles. Now police say that vehicle, that Tesla, it was registered to David Burke. And many people in the music community know him by just one name, David, D4vd. Now, when detectives searched that car, they found a body, and that body was later identified as a 14-year-old girl, her name, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Her body was in the front storage area of the Tesla, that's like the trunk of the vehicle, and it was in a state of decomposition, law enforcement said. Investigators have said that Celeste may have been dead for weeks before she was discovered. The teen's mom told investigators that she was last seen and heard from in April of 2024. So here we are in April of 2026 with David now under arrest in connection to her murder. The last time she was seen alive, according to her mom, all the way back roughly 2 years ago. Her mom also added another point about her daughter, and it was that she had a boyfriend named David. Now, by late 2025, sources were telling ABC News that David was being considered a suspect in the case.
Now, see, this right here is where I blame the parents and where I have a problem with this trifling mammy. Because, like I told y'all before, it had already came out with a conversation, I believe, allegedly from the brother, who said that they knew who she was with the whole time. The parents already knew. So it goes back to what you said, Lil Peasy, whether or not they were paid for her to be with him. Did he cut them off, break them off, you know, a little something for her to be able to stay with him and them not say anything? Y'all remember in the movie What's Love Got to Do with It? How the mama acted? Every time she tried to run away, the mama would tell Ike where Tina was. Yeah, you got trifling mamas like that. Do you think that was this situation? David was there, well, not David, she was their cash cow, and they basically used her for financial gain? That's the YouTube positive way to say it. What do you think?
No charges had been filed, yet behind the scenes, a grand jury had been hearing evidence in the case, including Burke's reported travel to the Santa Barbara area of California during the spring of 2025, and a search of the Hollywood Hills property where he was reportedly staying, and reports of a high heat burn cage found at that location. Then we go to January of this year, 2026. David's alleged close friend, a man named Neo Langston, was arrested in Montana for failing to appear as a witness in a Los Angeles grand jury investigation. And a week after that, Langston was spotted entering a Los Angeles courthouse and reportedly testified before the grand jury. But since then, for the most part, frankly, crickets in this case. No real developments, of course, until now. Joining us now to talk about this breaking news, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Always great to have you on Law and Crime. Big story out of Los Angeles tonight. Just what's your reaction? Because we have been covering this for so long about David's arrest.
Chris, my reaction is better late than never. I think this was something that we've all been expecting. When a body is found decomposing in the frunk of your Tesla, and there has been a young girl who's been missing for quite some time, and there's plenty of evidence that she ran away with you or a member of your entourage. I think there was a lot of evidence here pointing to David. And really the question was, what really took so long? And I think my initial reaction is, I live and work in LA. I respect law enforcement. Things can move slowly here. But I think this investigative grand jury, I think, really is the answer. I think the DA wanted to lock in some members of David's inner circle to make sure that they cooperate, they don't go sideways at trial. And I think that's what they were waiting on before they ended up arresting him.
So the announcement that came from the LAPD's TIO account says he's been arrested in connection to the murder of Celeste Rivas. And then it says that he's being held without bond. And then the case is going to be reviewed by the DA's office on Monday, or it goes in front of the DA's office on Monday. Like, if you can just walk us through the process of how that works, as opposed to them saying tonight, he has been charged with this and he's going to make his first appearance tomorrow.
Well, typically when you're talking about the DA, it's a reactive case. It's not like this. Law enforcement, they arrest someone, they prepare a report, that file lands on the DA's desk, and there's a charging DA that makes a decision. It's a little bit different in this case because it's more of a proactive investigation. Obviously, Celeste Rivas has been missing for quite some time and has been dead for also quite some time. So you have this case that has been worked on for more than 6 months now. I mean, I think, if I recall correctly, Celeste's body was found in September. Yeah. We all saw the video of the car being impounded and that search. Then, of course, law enforcement executed search warrants at David's home. Again, months and months ago. So this is the type of case that isn't just a file that lands on some DA's desk. This is a case that is being directed by prosecutors at the district attorney's office. They convene this investigative grand jury. And we know that a grand jury has two functions. In most states and at the federal level, their function is to indict. But it also has an investigative function. They have subpoena power, so they can subpoena people, witnesses, they can subpoena information and documents. And that's what the grand jury was doing in this case. So it seems to me that the prosecution has this all buttoned up right now. This isn't the type of case they're reacting to. This is a case where they think we not only have enough probable cause to get that arrest warrant and get past a preliminary hearing, but we have enough to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt to a jury at trial.
Do you think that this came as a surprise to David tonight, this arrest?
I think given how long it's taken, maybe folks have forgotten about it, but obviously there's been a lot of attention on this case and frankly, a lot of negative media attention. Again, I sit here in LA and a lot of folks are asking, what is LAPD doing? How could a young girl be missing for so long? How could her teacher give an interview saying that she ran off with someone named David? How could her body be found in the trunk of a vehicle? I mean, even if it was an accident, that in and of itself is potentially a crime. So why haven't any arrests been made? And I think really now we're going to know the answer very soon.
Poor sloppy police work. And somehow now I'm starting to believe that the fictional police do a better job than the real ones. Because explain to me how more stuff gets solved on Criminal Minds and Criminal Intent than in real life. And if you're going to come back and tell me, oh, well, that's fiction. You don't know the difference between fiction and real life. Well, yeah, I do know that fiction starts in the mind as the imagination. So if you're telling me the imagination is stronger than your ability to be logical in real life, then we got a problem. We got a problem. Because every story started in somebody's mind. So if your mind can imagine stories as elaborate as we see on shows like Criminal Minds, what do you think the mind should be capable of doing if you're actually investigating something real? Hell, take those shows and take notes from them at this point. Just write down what Gorin did from season 1, episode 1, all the way till it went off. Matter of fact, go find all the episodes of Gorin with his nemesis, Nicole, and take notes from that. Something, because the police clearly are not being trained anymore. I don't know who they putting over them. Maybe it's the training that's the problem. Maybe that's it.
is going to come out. We're going to have a lot more of the evidence, whether it's witness testimony, cooperators, whether it's electronic evidence, cell phones, social media. There's a lot of people watching social media, sleuths, detectives. They've followed that digital footprint, right? And they've seen, pictures, images on social media, the two seemingly together. And I think all those are sort of bricks in the wall that are going to eventually be the reason that David is convicted in this case.
And beyond that too, I mean, I think when you think about the LAPD, like celebrities, it's not a big deal for them in the way that it might be for other police departments across the country. When you look at the timeline, the case certainly has these elements that we follow the developments along the way, but how much did the celebrity of David add to the timeline it took for him to be arrested in connection to this? And we'll see what they specifically accuse him of.
Well, it's interesting. The celebrity factor, people think it helps. I don't necessarily think it helps being a celebrity in LA. In fact, it draws more attention to it. I mean, obviously, look, the case I kind of give the example of recently, she was just sentenced, Matthew Perry, right? He was involved in a drug-related death. He was a victim. But the fact that, the ketamine queen, Jasmine Song, killing Matthew Perry, and again, I'm not naive, that case was treated differently than the 2019 case when she killed someone with ketamine. So, the celebrity factor draws attention to it. The reality is we're talking about the case here on Law and Crime because it's David. And, there are many young girls that go missing.
You know what, Nisi, I'm glad you said this as well, because this is extremely important. And I'm also glad that you referenced R. Kelly, because it's very true. One of the biggest things that I said with the R. Kelly case is if you're going to lock him up, lock up those parents too, because he wouldn't have had access if the parents wouldn't have gave it to him. What parents leave their minor children, daughters at that, in a studio all night with a grown man who's a stranger? What parents do that? When we were kids, we couldn't even sit in grown men's lap, even if it was our uncles. Wish you would. My daddy wouldn't let me sit in his lap after a certain age. So yeah, a lot of these parents need to start being held accountable for their part in this. You knew where your daughter was and you didn't do nothing to save your daughter. This is your fault as well. Her blood is on your hands. Mama, father. Matter of fact, where's the rest of the family? Let me tell y'all something. I have 7 nieces and nephews. My sister. I don't care if me and my sister are having a spat, a disagreement, or what's never. I don't care. If I call that telephone and say I want to speak to whichever one of my nieces and nephews, and that baby don't get on that phone, I'm probably giving you about a second time. After time number 2, oh, you got to see me, or I got to see my nieces and nephews. What do you mean you have family members who just don't care? So the parent can tell you, oh, they with their daddy for the last 2 years, and you just, oh, okay, that's good. That's good. No, well, let me see a picture. Call them on the phone for me. Let me see their face. When was the last time you saw them? You want to interrogate? Absolutely, I want to interrogate them. The way these kids leaving out of here left and right, you better start doing some interrogations if you really care. But maybe that's the problem. Maybe we've become so focused on me, myself, and I that we no longer care about what's going on around us, including in our family, unless it's happening to us. And that's the bigger problem.
Not talking about it. I'm not asked to speak about it, and it doesn't make it any different. It doesn't make it any less right. There's women that are trafficked, they're sexually abused, they're victims of violence, they're even murdered, hundreds, thousands every single day. So I think the celebrity factor probably ended up drawing more attention to it, both law enforcement and prosecution attention to the case because of who David is.
Right. And even when you think of LA, I mean, we've talked about Nick Reiner recently, very different circumstances in that case. But I mean, just the amount of attention, the amount of cameras at court when he makes an appearance, it's just different than other families that have dealt with issues like that. When you look at this case going forward, I remember Neil Langston, one of David's friends, he gets arrested for not cooperating with this grand jury. What stands out to you just about the way, from at least on the outside, it seems that prosecutors have been going about this.
Yeah, think about that case. If I recall correctly, here's someone who refused to testify before the grand jury, and the DA's office went out of state to get an arrest warrant to bring him back to California. I mean, that's how seriously they're taking this case, if I recall correctly. So this isn't any other case. This isn't any other runaway. This isn't any other young girl who is the victim of violence. I mean, this case has been treated differently, as it should. Look, I wish LAPD had unlimited resources and time to go after all these cases, all these young girls. Their lives matter. And it's sad that this is unfortunately a tale that's all too common. Obviously, we don't know what happened here. We don't know if it was an accident. She was murdered intentionally. She overdosed. She was trafficked. I mean, there's all sorts of speculation out there. I don't know exactly what happened. But what we do know is this is a young girl that was missing for quite some time. She had run away at least once before, and it took a very long time to find her. So I think during that time period, there's going to be a lot of evidence. Obviously, we've seen some of the video evidence the last time she was seen. Again, I expect there to be a lot of digital evidence. It's going to be a strong case, I think, when it's all said and done.
And when it comes to just kind of how the mechanics of the whole situation works out. So if he's arrested tonight, he's being held without bond. He hasn't specifically been charged with anything. And then you have, on Monday, it's going to go in front of the DA. Like, how are you able to hold him for that long a period of time, even through the weekend potentially?
So yeah, these Thursday arrests oftentimes end up with a Monday arraignment because of the time period. Typically, you have about 48 hours to be brought before a judge, but it ends up being the next court day. So that's why the initial appearance will likely be on Monday, where David will be arraigned on the charges. Those charges will be read aloud in court. Expect his lawyer. I think he already has a lawyer based on some of the statements that were made last year. Expect his lawyer to enter a not guilty plea, and then the process starts. Again, if it's a grand jury indictment, which is not typical, there won't be a preliminary hearing. But usually here in LA, the district attorney proceeds by a complaint and a preliminary hearing. And again, just because there's a grand jury, I believe it's just an investigative grand jury. They'd have to convene another grand jury to indict. And I don't think that's what they're going to do. Typically what they do is in LA, they charge on a complaint.
So do they generally have this many grand juries? Like, so you have a grand jury before you arrest them, then you have a grand jury to indict them. Do you need a grand jury to go to trial too? Like, this just seems like a waste. What are we doing? Yeah, if they mess up this case the way they messed up the Diddy case, the level of festivity. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So much money. Money, so much money. Thank you, Niecy. Niecy said we as women need to pay more attention to our lovers. Love can be blind and deadly. Ooh, baby, so true. So true. Lil Peasy said Holly weird parents. Absolutely. Progressive said the people told the police, stop scrolling. They didn't want them. They said, well, we gonna see. They showing up on crime scenes to get tea, not to investigate. Facts. They like the NBA, play and investigate when they want to. Absolutely. Facts. That's it. And it's not even investigation, because what are we doing? So you mean to tell me before you picked this boy up, you didn't make sure you had all the grand juries done that you needed done? You telling me this thing could possibly be thrown out? Because if you still need a grand jury, that means you don't have full permission to indict. What are we doing? Why would we play with a case this serious? Like, somebody help me understand. Why? Why is that? Is that normal? Maybe it's me and I just haven't followed trial cases too closely lately, because they just changing rules. And we don't know rules is changing, Because, now if the police pull you over and tell you to get out the car, you got to get out the car. that they don't need probable cause anymore. You got to get out the car. And if you don't get out the car, you're going to jail. That's the new law. Now, when that law came into play, we don't know. Well, I don't know what we were doing. I don't know if we were focused on the CERN, if we were focused on COVID. Not sure, but that's the new law. If they pull you, and apparently the new law is for their safety. They can't search the car without probable cause, but they can absolutely make you step out of it without probable cause. Then, on top of that, y'all remember a time when the police used to have to read you your Miranda rights before they arrested you? Am I the only one that remembered that? Because they trying to say now that it was just on the movies and in TV, that it never happened in real life. Like, the police never physically told us this. Am I the only one? So things are changing that we don't know. So that's why I'm asking, do they normally arrest and do the grand juries after the arrest? Somebody drop in the comments and let me know. Or if you did a little Google research, put it in the comments and I'll put it on the screen.
And after some period of time, there has to be a preliminary hearing. And at that preliminary hearing, the judge determines whether there's enough probable cause to move forward to a full-blown jury trial. So the DA will present some limited evidence, usually through a handful of law enforcement witnesses, and this process is going to get started.
And that was kind of my next question, because we don't know specifically the cause of death. At this point, we know the state at which her body was found, sadly, but then we also don't know what the charges specifically he's going to face. How much may we learn, knowing how much in LA and in California when it comes to, I think of a state like Florida, and you can find the probable cause document online. How much might we learn on Monday if that's when he's arraigned on something?
Well, I think we're going to learn a lot. Obviously, the nature of the charges. So you have first-degree intentional murder, you have special circumstances, you have second-degree murder, you have manslaughter if it's an accident. Obviously, there might be charges related to moving the body. Are there going to be potential sex charges? I mean, I think that would be obviously very important. I mean, again, we're just guessing right now.
Sure.
There's no death penalty here in California. There's been a moratorium. We haven't had an execution in 20 years. So don't expect to see the death penalty regardless of what the charges are. But again,
that's another thing too. If y'all think that these criminals don't be knowing that the crime that they commit in certain states, what kind of justice they're going to get behind it, y'all crazy. A lot of this stuff people are doing in certain states because they know there's no death penalty. So even if I get caught, all I'm going to get is life. I don't have to worry about losing mine the way I took someone else's.
Intentional premeditated murder, special circumstances, if there's any type of enhancements, that's all going to be very telling. And look, it's just a matter of days before this evidence comes out.
And when you think about moving past Monday, and again, this has been a case that has developed, it feels like very slowly and very much under wraps outside of the reporting that we've seen. Like after Monday, depending on what the charges are, like what does the timeline potentially look like for a prosecution of David?
Well, it's going to move quickly. And obviously, it's David's right to a speedy trial. And typically what you see is the defense waives their right. They want to get the discovery. They want to get all the evidence. So what is typical is the defendant will waive time. That means they'll review the discovery and they'll see how they can challenge this case. Now, if you're looking at murders, and again, I'm assuming this is a murder case because he's being held without bond. I mean, typically you have three types of defenses. One, it wasn't me, right? So you got finger pointing, it was an accident, or I didn't intend to do it, right? So something happened that was something less than murder, or some sort of self-defense. Now, obviously, Celeste Rivas, by all accounts, is a pretty small young girl. I would be surprised if there's a self-defense argument, just like Nick Reiner, right? Surprised if you see self-defense in that type of case. His parents are a lot older, they're in their bedrooms. But typically, if you're seeing like, what is the defense going to argue? They either argue identity, they argue intent, wasn't premeditated, it was an accident, something along those lines. It was manslaughter, heat of passion, legal insanity. You start attacking intent, or you start putting up some legal defense like self-defense. But again, I would be very surprised if it were self-defense in this case.
And I know we were talking about Neil Langston just a short time ago, but you think about witnesses in this case and who may have already talked to law enforcement, what type of information that law enforcement may have. We don't know what those conversations were like, but what are those conversations typically like in a general sense as a prosecutor when you have someone who might be a friend of David, might be a friend of someone who's now going to face some pretty serious charges, about getting that person in line with what you want as a prosecutor?
Well, Chris, I sort of cut my teeth on drug trafficking cases, and when you're dealing with any criminal organization, and I'm not saying David is entourage is a criminal organization. But what you want to do is you want to lean on the less culpable people in the organization. Maybe someone was, for instance, giving Celeste Rivas drugs, you know, maybe someone wasn't involved in the murder, but they had access to the Tesla. It seems like a lot of people did. What you want to do is lean on them and make sure they flip against the most culpable person in the organization. It's really prosecution 101. And what makes some of these charges strong, let's say you have a conspiracy charge, conspiracy to commit murder. You can really have nothing to do with actual murder, but if you're engaged in overt acts and furtherance of the conspiracy, and let's say it's some larger conspiracy, let's say it's a trafficking conspiracy, well, the next thing you know, you could be substantively on the hook for Celeste Rivas's death, even if you didn't actually kill her. So there's a lot of potential time that other individuals may be facing as co-conspirators, accessories, if they're aiding and abetting. And what you want to do is lean on them, make sure to get the information you want, make sure it's truthful, make sure they're going to cooperate. That's what that grand jury is for, testifying before the grand jury, lock them in. So that way, when you move forward against the principal, the person that you think is the most liable, the most culpable, seems like it's David here, that you have those witnesses locked in, because otherwise, guess what? They're going to be the next people to be charged and arrested.
And then just lastly, I mean, I'm sure for whether you're a detective on this case, you're a prosecutor who's been, you know, kind of watching the evidence come in and you're thinking about what the charges could be.
Well, one of the things, and I agree with you, Zach, where's the autopsy? The police really haven't released anything in this case. So if anybody really wanted anything in this case, they would have to pay for it. And I really don't think they're going to release anything while it's still an ongoing investigation. I really don't know how that works. As far as how long it took them to arrest him, well, one of the things that we got to remember, in order to be prosecuted for a crime, you need two things. You got to have an act that is criminal. That's where we get criminal intent. And you have to have an intent that is criminal. You got to have those two things in order to convict. What we had in this situation from the beginning was a bunch of circumstantial evidence that led in a direction, but not a direction that you could prosecute in court. It's almost like he was guilty in public opinion. In the eye of the public looked and said, you know what? Looks like this guy might be guilty. But then you turned around and looked and said, yep, but the evidence don't necessarily say it was him. It was his car. It was near his house. All of this, but who's to say he was the one that did it? Who's to say someone else wasn't in possession of his vehicle and they were the ones that unalived him? So with so many questions and uncertainties, can't make an arrest, because then you really throw the case, unless you're trying to throw it on purpose.
Emotionally, what is the moment like tonight, knowing that David is now in custody and you've hit a new level in this investigation in this case?
Yeah, certainly for law enforcement and the prosecution, I think there is going to be this burden lifted because, again, there have been folks like me. I've been very critical of law enforcement. I said, you know, what's going on? This doesn't make any sense to me. Why hasn't an arrest been made? If it's not David, who is responsible for this? So I think there is that relief. But now the real work starts, because now you have a lawyer on the other side, and David has money and he's already lawyered up. At least that's my understanding. That's going to fight this tooth and nail. And because there's no death penalty in California, and because you're not going to give a discount on this case, you're not going to give David, if he really was involved in sort of recruiting or enticing this girl, potentially kidnapping her and killing her, are you going to give him anything less than life? So there's no real deal to be had here. There's no death penalty to take off the table. So this is the type of case that's very likely going to go all the way to jury trial. That's just the reality of it. So, but if you're talking about the people that I've been thinking of, it has to be Celeste Rivas's family. I can't imagine what they've been going through all these years. Your young girl goes missing and then she's found dead and you really don't have answers. So hopefully the family can finally get some answers for everything that they've suffered through.
No, very well put. Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Big breaking news tonight out of Los Angeles. Thank you as always for being with us on Law and Crime.
Of course, Chris.
So that you had that. Now we're going to get into this update from Law and Crime as well, because it looks like the case is starting to get a little messy. So let's check it out.
With the breaking Development that singer David has now been arrested in connection with the alleged murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And the release of his attorney's new statement, we have a ton of legal questions we need to answer. Why wasn't he charged yet? He's only been arrested. Why is there a dispute over cause of death? Is there a weakness in this case? What was the evidence LAPD had to make this arrest? So many questions. I'm going to be breaking it down with renowned celebrity criminal defense attorney Bradford Cohen. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, real quick before we jump into all of this, we have this app, this partner that I think you're going to love. It's called Upside. Upside gets you cash back, extra cash back on everyday purchases like gas, groceries, takeout. So here's what you do. You download Upside for free. You claim an offer at one of their 100,000 plus locations. You pay like normal with your card. You verify the purchase, and just like that, money back. So say I need to get gas or I want takeout one night, I'll search for Upside offers first. And after I spend, money appears in my app that I can transfer right into my bank account. And Upside's frequent users earn an average of $254 back a year. So to start getting your cash back, click the link in the description or scan the QR code, but make sure to use promo code SIDEBAR because you get an extra 25 cents bonus on every gallon on your first tank of gas. After 7 months, 21-year-old David Anthony Burke, David, the singer, has been arrested for the alleged murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And look, while my colleague, Chris Stewart, on the case, broke down the breaking news of David's arrest last night, I was on News Nation. I was hosting my show. I couldn't get to it. I apologize. There is a lot more that we need to break down today. There is a lot more that has come out since that arrest. And there's a lot of legal questions we need to make sense of.
And again, for all of you who may be looking and you're like, 1 minute it say 15, 1 minute it say 14. She was 14 when she passed away. However, she was unalive. She was 14. She turned 15 after her body was found. So in some accounts, you're going to hear them say 14 because that's how old she was when she passed. Some accounts, you're going to hear them say 15 because that's how old she was after they found her body.
I mean, I'm made of legal questions right now. Why wasn't he indicted? Why was he just arrested? Meaning he was arrested for suspicion of murder, but he hasn't been charged. Wasn't there a grand jury hearing evidence? Did the LA District Attorney's Office know the LAPD was going to make an arrest? What happens now in terms of charging? Is this a sign the case may not be strong? Are there cooperating witnesses? His attorney's statement is very interesting, particularly when they talk about cause of death. But let me just start with this, okay? So this is from the LAPD, their PIO. Quote, detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division have arrested David Burke, a 21-year-old resident of Los Angeles, for the murder of Celeste Rivas. Burke is being held without bail. The case will be presented to the district attorney's office on Monday for filing consideration. Now, this came in from the LA County District Attorney's Office. Good evening. Our office is aware of the arrest of David Anthony Burke by the Los Angeles Police Department. The case is expected to be presented to the Major Crimes Division, at which point prosecutors will review the facts and evidence to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to file charges. At this time, additional information is not available. We will share an update on Monday once a filing decision has been made. And then this came in late last night. Good evening. The individual mentioned is still in LAPD custody. You may reach out to the district attorney's office once the case has been presented to them. So to be clear, David has been arrested, but he hasn't been officially charged with a crime. And by the way, talk about his arrest. What a scene.
And see, here's where I'm saying y'all playing, right? Because this has been going on long enough. So y'all took the time to arrest this man without having everything that you needed to convict him. So are we going to see another Diddy situation where this boy walks on this or gets off on a lesser charge because y'all screwed it up? That's going to be the sad part. Because what are they doing?
You know what? According to NBC News, David was arrested shortly after 4:30 p.m. at a house in the Hollywood Hills located on Marmont Avenue. I mean, we hadn't heard publicly from David in months. We hadn't seen David publicly in months. He was on his Withered tour when Celeste's body was found, and that tour was canceled. Future dates were canceled. And then he went radio silent. LAPD Captain Scott Williams told the outlet, quote, "We did the best we can to keep tabs on him, but once we developed probable cause to arrest him for murder, then we were on him pretty diligently." And he told the California Post they had a probable cause warrant with them when they made the arrest. And there are photos of armed police outside this residence making the arrest. Per reporting from the California Post, David appears to be in handcuffs. He's led away. A neighbor apparently told the outlet that she saw, quote, "so many cops on this street that one of them took to a loudspeaker shouting, "Surrender." This brings me now to David's attorney's statement. So this is from Blair Burke, Marilyn Bednarski, and Regina Peter. Let us be clear, the actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. There has been no indictment returned by any grand jury in this case and no criminal complaint filed. David has only been detained under suspicion. We will vigorously defend David's innocence. So that's right. He's innocent until proven guilty.
So what was he arrested for? See, this is what I'm saying. Oh, don't piss me off. This is what I'm saying. Exactly what did you arrest him for? If technically he's only under suspicion. You should have kept your suspicious ass in the office and left that boy at home until you had something definite to arrest him on that would stick. So basically, you arrested him because this is all you got, and you want to move on all you got before you don't have nothing to move on. So instead of putting your boots on the ground and figuring out what happened to this baby, you just jumped up and said, you know what? Yeah, let's go and arrest him. We got enough for probable cause. But do you have enough for murder? Or you gonna let this boy get away with moving the body? Maybe disposing of the body? Y'all, you can't make this up. Meanwhile, you can't sell weed. Otherwise, you get 30 to 50. But somebody can be responsible, allegedly, for somebody else not being here. And y'all, what? Just play with the case, hoping the pieces fall in line. Meanwhile, y'all fighting for y'all freedom and innocence over a 3-5. Come on now.
First public statement on this case after so many months. And to put this into context, I said 7 months. Remember when I said 7 months? It was back on September 8th when her decomposed body was found in the trunk of a Tesla, reportedly belonging to the romantic homicide singer. And while not officially confirmed by investigators, there has long been speculation and reports that Celeste and David were romantically involved. But remember, there have been no arrests, there have been no charges up until yesterday. That was the first real arrest in connection with the alleged murder of Celeste. Now, Celeste was reported missing from Lake Elsinore back in 2024. This is about 75 miles away from LA. We believe the last reported photo of her was from early 2025. We learned through court filings that Celeste had been dismembered, that her body parts were put in bags. But to be clear, no official cause of death has been revealed. Why? Because the ME's records, the medical examiner's records, were sealed. They were sealed by a court based on a request from the LAPD, which has only added to the speculation, the confusion, the frustration in this case. And those same filings indicated that David was a target in this murder investigation, which is interesting because at one point, police indicated there may not even be a crime outside concealment of Celeste's body. So something changed. We heard reporting, particularly from TMZ, that a grand jury had been impaneled out in LA on this case. There was back and forth about whether it was a grand jury that could return an indictment or merely it was an investigative grand jury that hears evidence, locks in testimony. And based on what just happened, David being arrested but not charged, isn't that telling? And remember, his purported friend, Neil Langston, was arrested for allegedly failing to appear as a witness, reportedly brought back to LA to testify in a criminal proceeding. We presume it was this grand jury. So as you can see, there are a lot of legal questions about the case, the evidence, the defenses, whether he's actually going to be charged,
I agree with you on this one, Progressive. I absolutely believe that the money here is going to determine this case. Absolutely believe that. Class control, the narrative, large and small scale crime. Don't believe me if you make under 50K, rob a TV, let another who makes 6 figures rob millions. Yeah, facts. It depends on the tax bracket that you fall in, the level of crime that you get convicted of, or matter of fact, if you're even brought up on charges for a crime. Money make the world go round. That's the problem. Do you think money spoke in this situation? And that's why they can't find what they need to find on David to convict him? Or are you one of the individuals who feels he's innocent Let me know.
Charged, and that's what I want to talk about. So I want to bring in Bradford Cohen, celebrity criminal defense attorney, friend of the show, friend of mine. So good to see you. I'm very, very confused. I'm very confused. Look, I'm confused because he was arrested and not charged. He was arrested, what I think was via a complaint, right? There's they got him through a probable cause warrant. I thought there was a grand jury that was being impaneled to present an indictment. So the way I understand it is now he's arrested. They're sending it back to the DA's office for filing consideration. And they already have the case. Weren't they already presenting evidence to the grand jury? I'm confused what's going on here.
So I'm confused as well, because I thought they were presenting evidence to a grand jury this whole time. I thought that's what was taking so long, because they were determining how the cause of death happened, what the evidence was. And it was unusual because it's a Tesla. And usually Tesla has audio and video attached to their car, so you would be able to see who was putting what in where, or when it happened and when it was parked. The whole thing was very unusual, the way it developed and then how long it took. And then to culminate in an arrest with a complaint seems unbelievably weird, because now it's going back to the DA's office, who already knows all about this case, for filing consideration. So I think that there's something strange going on. It could be, and I'm just spitballing, is a CYA type situation where it could be that the LAPD has a different point of view than the state attorney's office. And now they made the arrest. Now they're putting the onus on the state attorney's office to now say, listen, there's not enough evidence there. So sometimes this happens where the police feel, listen, there's enough. We're making an arrest. The state attorney's office says, don't make an arrest, there's not enough. And the policing agency just makes the arrest and says, good, now you guys can go to the press and tell them there's not enough evidence here to charge this guy, where it's his Tesla, it's, 3 blocks from his house, it's his ex-girlfriend, she's 15 years old and she's found dismembered. Now you go to the press and say there's not enough evidence to charge.
You heard the statements, right? You heard the statements last night. Did it seem to you that the DA's office wasn't aware that the LAPD was going to arrest him? Because they're like, it kind of felt like we were made aware of this. We're aware of what happened. It didn't seem like it was a joint operation that they were. I mean, I could be speculating, but that's what it seemed like to me.
I feel like you hit the nail on the head. That's why I'm saying, like, the only thing I can in this situation is that there is not a meeting of the mind in terms of that they have enough evidence to charge this young man. And if they don't have enough evidence, or the state feels they don't, but the LAPD feels they do, like I said, the LAPD never wants to look stupid. And they do look stupid where it feels like there's a lot of evidence here that points to this gentleman, and they're not making an arrest, and it's been 6 months, it's been 8 months. So that's why now they can say, listen, good, here's the state attorney. You say that there's not evidence.
Let me ask you this.
So basically they're saying they jumped the gun. So we're seeing the same thing happen here that we see with the Nancy case, where the police and the FBI aren't getting along in that case. So you can't get any traction or answers because the police won't step aside and let the FBI take over and do what they need to do, right? We're seeing the same thing here. So basically, you're telling me that the district attorney did not give the police the go-ahead, or they didn't even agree that there was enough. Look, the police do not try cases. District attorneys do. So if the district attorney is telling you you do not have enough to convict him, matter of fact, in order to bring him up on charges, why, pray tell, are you arresting him? Why? So now it makes sense why we still need a grand jury, because technically he isn't charged with anything. He's just detained. You remember that pretty little word that they used, before in the Nancy case with all those mysterious people they were picking up? He's detained. He hasn't been charged because a grand jury hasn't given the go-ahead. So why is he in custody? Why? To mess up the case? Who else is involved in this case that we don't know about? That's my question.
Scenarios could be true. One, the grand jury's still hearing evidence and the LAPD just decided to arrest him while the grand jury's still hearing evidence. B, grand jury came back and said no to an indictment, which would be kind of a rare thing because of the standard to get a grand jury indictment that there's probable cause was very low. So it's maybe the grand jury said no. Or maybe this was just a grand jury that was impaneled like an investigative grand jury, hear evidence, lock in testimony, and then move forward from there? Any of those possibilities realistic?
I think the third one's less likely, but it could be. But generally speaking, the first two are probably more likely scenario where the grand jury could be still hearing evidence, but the LAPD felt they weren't moving fast enough, so they made an arrest. There could be that they felt that he was going to flee. You know, it could be that they had information he was leaving the country and they wanted to lock him down because
even if you hear the commander, like it seems like they had eyes on him based on the reporting, that they knew where he was in the Hollywood Hills.
I would imagine that they knew where every movement that he made was. So generally, I'll tell you how this generally goes. Generally, this goes where if the state or the feds aren't ready to indict, but they feel there's a flight risk, they may make the arrest and then, figure it out. Let's see how it all goes. That's kind of general.
Yeah, that's dumb. That doesn't even make sense, because if he was a flight risk, then he'd been a flight risk. If he wanted to flee, he could have been flee. How long have we been dealing with this case? He ain't fleed yet. So you arrested him because you felt like he was a flight risk. I'm pretty for sure his passports were already shot. Like, they took care of them when they canceled tours and all of that to make sure that he didn't go anywhere. So explain the purpose in this arrest if the district attorney doesn't feel like you have enough evidence to charge. If the grand jury doesn't feel like you have enough evidence to charge, they're still going over the details to determine whether or not arresting him would be a waste of time. And y'all jump up for no reason at all and say, nope, today's the day. We're going to arrest him. Because why exactly?
How this works when you see this scenario. This is a little bit different because the kid was out of the country, in the country. They've been keeping eyes on him. He knows an investigation is going on. Any minute this kid could have taken off, but he didn't. And I think the LAPD were keeping tabs on him. So that is the least likely situation that I see, but it could have been that. I think more than likely it was that the LAPD feels they have enough evidence and the state does not feel they have enough evidence, and they were tired of waiting and they just made the arrest.
Okay, what's that disconnect? Why might there be a problem in this case? I mean, I'll give you an example. It was reported that Neil Langston, David's purported friend, testified for only 30 to 40 minutes. And this was believed that he was somebody who was important to this case, that allegedly was there, that maybe had a role in this. And allegedly he was arrested for failing to appear. He was arrested in Montana, brought back. So you look at something like that, you're like, well, maybe he didn't give them what they needed. Maybe he pled the fifth. You think about David's defense attorneys who's saying he's not the cause of death. Is there something seriously lacking in this case from an evidentiary point of view?
Oh, I've said this from the jump, like everything points to a certain person or certain persons. The problem that you have is that, and I said this originally, is it a murder case because they cannot determine the cause of death? Let's say this young lady died from an OD or died from something else, and we don't know at this point how she died. And then after she died, obviously somebody or someone freaks out. They don't know what to do. There's a dead body in the house, puts it in the trunk, tries to forget about it, things of that nature. That's not a murder case, right? That is a illegal disposing of a body. There's other charges that could be, filed on that. Originally, I thought that's where they were going with this, that it wasn't going to be a murder charge. Because
now, this is why I say when there's a charge, when there's a crime, in order to convict, there has to be two things. You got to have an act that is criminal. So the first thing in here is they have to determine whether or not this girl was unalived by someone else. Now, there's rumors about her being dismembered. Let's say that she was, right? They would still have to prove whether it was done before she was not breathing, put it that way. They have to determine, like they said, did she OD? And then they dismembered her? How did she pass away? Without knowing how she passed away, you cannot charge someone with murder. And I think this is the argument that the district attorney and the grand jury is having, because right now you don't know how she died. You don't know. So how can you arrest someone on murder when you don't even have anything to prove she was murdered? So we throw in this case too. We Diddy in this case. That's what we doing.
Not prove the cause of death. I've read some places online that they say, no, now we can prove the cause of death. I don't know how. It's been like 6 or 8 months and they were trying to figure out what the cause of death was. So I think that is a very large hole in a case where you're charging a murder if you cannot figure out how the person died. So if you have no evidence on how the person died, but you have evidence maybe that the body was disposed of in an illegal way, you have a different charge, but you don't have a murder charge. So I think that's the big hole in this case, is no one knows how she died, when she died, because they're trying to determine it, but it's very difficult. And Dr. Bodden did some reports on how bodies decompose and trying to figure out, when someone died. What lends itself to the confusion is it was in the trunk of a car, the front.
So I tried to catch that before. Let me rewind this a little bit.
But you don't have a murder charge. So I think that's the big hole in this case, is no one knows how she died, when she died, because they're trying to determine it, but it's very difficult. And Dr. Bodden did some reports on how bodies decompose and
so I wanted to pause it right here, because this is the vehicle that she was found in. So for those of us who are not too familiar with Teslas, the back or the rear of the vehicle, where we would normally see the trunk at in most vehicles, in a Tesla, that's not where the trunk is located. So I'm guessing maybe the mechanics of the vehicle is in the back, but the trunk of the vehicle is actually in the front. And it's this area that she was found in. It's also this area of where we learned that potentially the front of the vehicle is refrigerated or has a freezer option, which would make sense if she'd been unalive weeks or months before and someone was moving the vehicle back and forth from one side of the street to the other, that they were trying to keep the freezer engaged so she wouldn't completely thaw out and start to smell. I really wonder if anyone over there by the house during that time smelled anything unusual that they couldn't quite put their finger on. Like maybe she hadn't completely started to smell, but maybe she started on one of those nights where it was extremely hot outside and the car was not turned on. So allegedly, now they haven't confirmed that her body was frozen. They haven't confirmed that her body was cool. All I'm saying is we had someone in our chat who stated that a neighbor showed them that the front of a Tesla is refrigerated or has a freezer, so her body could have been frozen.
When someone died, what lends itself to the confusion is it was in the trunk of a car, the front trunk of the car. There, it's 90 degrees out, 85 degrees out. We don't know what the temperatures were, if the humidity got in there. There's a lot of things that take
dismembered. To go back to this for a second, what is happening Monday now? So they present it to the DA's office. Does the DA within a few hours say we think there's enough? And then they present it in front of a judge for a preliminary hearing where it's not in front of a grand jury, and it's a different kind of way to present evidence to say there's probable cause. The judge determines if there's probable cause to support the charges, and that's how you move forward. Or do they go back to a grand jury? I mean, what are we expecting now Monday into next week?
So I think that at this point, their hands may be tied and they might have to go for a preliminary hearing in front of a judge, a probable cause hearing in front of a judge, if they're going to make that determination. I think between then and now, the defense attorneys will be calling. I'm sure they've already been in contact with the state attorney's office, and they're going to say, like, what are we doing here? This kid should be out. Like, I don't know what the grand jury's doing, but like, how are we proceeding with the case? And I think the state will give them an idea of how they're going to proceed. If a grand jury was already impaneled and they're hearing the evidence and now this guy's arrested, they could still try. And I mean, there's different laws here. There could be speedy rules that come into play. That's why generally you don't make an arrest before you're ready to, right? Because if the demand's speedy, a speedy trial, and you have to be brought to trial within a certain period of time in every state, you could be in real trouble if you're not ready to go to trial. And they might not be ready to go to trial because they still haven't gotten all the evidence that they want to proceed. So my guess is their hands are tied right now. They're going to have to make a decision of how to move forward. I'm not sure what they're going to decide. My guess would be a probable cause hearing in front of a judge. And then now they're laying the blame off to the judge to say, well, the judge didn't find probable cause. Like we presented all the evidence, judge didn't find probable cause. It's not us who didn't want to file the charges. It's now the judge. Everyone in these cases, whenever there's some stuff flying around, right, they try to cover themselves any way they can. So the LAPD is covering themselves by arresting them. The state will now cover themselves by saying, well, we filed all the evidence and we did everything we did, but the judge didn't find it or the grand jury didn't come back with an indictment. That's how they keep laying the blame off on other people for shoddy investigations.
Are we going to learn her cause of death? Because I wonder, now that there's been an arrest and now that we're talking about the presentation of evidence, possibly more in a public forum, are the records, remember the ME's records were sealed, are they going to be unsealed and we'll learn what authorities believe her cause of death is?
So I think if you're going to go to a probable cause hearing, you're going to have to hear what the cause of death is. There's no way around it. So you can't go to a probable cause hearing and say, Judge, we're still trying to figure out how she died, but we're charging him with the murder. It doesn't work. So unless they know the cause of death and they're ready to present the cause of death in front of either a grand jury or a judge or someone, this case goes nowhere. So yes, I think that.
So y'all listen, I'm gonna pause it right there because I just got irritated. I told y'all when it comes to these videos, I download them and I watch them with y'all, so that we can get that fresh look together. And I'm a little frustrated. Frustrated because it sounds to me like they're Diddy in this case and they're going to throw this case and something is going to happen and this boy's going to walk on possibly a lesser charge because they screwing it up from the beginning. I have never in life, and I'm 49, about to be 50. I have never in life heard of the police arresting somebody on a case this big without even having grand jury clearance. Like, they've arrested him. They don't even know how she died. Make somebody, oh Lord. Make it make sense. How do you have this boy arrested, detained on suspicion of murder, and the ME ain't even said the girl was murdered? So if the ME come back and say she OD'd, then what? You let him go and apologize, and then what? He sue y'all for millions and millions of dollars because lost a tour, so he just walk because y'all screwed up. Why would you arrest him when you have no evidence that anything was done? Remember our saying, and I forgot to put it on here, from the movie, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove in court. All of us, all day long, can say David did it. All day, till the moon turns red, we can say David did it. It's not what we know, it's what we can prove. Right now, there is no proof. I was expecting to watch one of these videos and see like a smoking gun. Like, yeah, he did it. They got him. Finally, after all this time, it's been a long, long time coming. But I know the nigga gon' hang. Listen, we was waiting, but no. No. Once again, we see the failures in our police departments and the idiocracies that are going on with our officials, that somehow they thought it was a bright idea to arrest a man on murder, and they don't even know if it was a murder. That's the part I don't they don't even know how she died to know if it was a murder. They don't know. They don't know nothing in this case. Still, you arrested this man and you still know nothing. Why? Put on your golden chapeaus. Why do you think that they would arrest someone in a case like that? And don't say because you thought he was going to flee. There's no way you thought he was going to flee. Because if you thought he was going to flee today, then you thought he was going to flee in September. But you didn't, because there was no motion back then. He was able to do everything he wanted. This man probably could have been in and out the country 30 times between now and then, and you wasn't concerned. Why are you rushing it now? No cause of death. No proof of murder. Allegedly. According to y'all. But you arrested him. Make it make sense. The DA don't even think that you have enough to charge him with. So therefore you arrested him and the DA is going to deny it because you don't have enough to charge him with a crime. That's how it goes. You have to hand the suspect over to the DA for charges. The DA who has already told you you don't have enough for y'all. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this story, about David being arrested, about the cluster drives our police departments are doing. Drop in the comments and let me know what you think about it. Thank you for joining me again for another champagne conversation, for whatever we want to call this episode. Tonight, we dealt with the story of Ashlee Jenae, the young lady who was found hanging in a beautiful, gorgeous hotel room in Zanzibar. We took a look at the hotel room in Zanzibar. Well, not that specific one, but we looked at some video footage from the hotel just so you guys could see, not necessarily trying to see where she was found at, but I just wanted you to see the beauty they were surrounded by for such evil to happen. This is why I keep telling y'all, some of y'all are sleeping with the enemy and you don't even know it. Don't even know it. You better wake up, take the blinders off, stop seeing color, and start seeing reality. His arrest is staged, and he'll be out the same day as Diddy. I agree with you, Father Locke. This is foolishness. It don't even make sense. You can't even pay it to make sense. That's the problem. I don't think anything consequence will happen to him. Yeah, because they haven't proven a murder. They can't. The Emmy Ben said from the beginning, they cannot prove. And then if she was dismembered, what body parts are missing? The biggest problem is, okay, think of it like this. So I heard one source say that it was her hands and her feet. Well, if it was her hands and her feet, they have identifying marks on them, right? My thought process was possibly that it was the head. Originally, when we discussed this, my thought was, I think it's the head, because the head is going to tell you how she was unalived. And that's my concern about them not releasing what body parts were missing if she was dismembered. Because if the head is there and you still can't tell, well, how? Then maybe we got to think drug overdose or injected with something. But if the head is missing, if she was shot in the head, you would see it in the head. If there was a slash to the throat, you'd see that. Without that, it's hard to tell how she was unalive. Now, if the head and the hands and feet is missing, then, well, we don't know nothing. So again, why would you arrest him when you have no evidence of a murder? Number one, you just got an unalive body that's missing body parts, but you can't prove that this person was murdered. In the words of your ME, the DA, number 2, said you don't have enough to charge. So you arrested someone that you're going to have to hand over to the DA, and they're going to turn you around and say, sorry, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. And you haven't even gotten permission from the grand jury. So the police just out here trumping it, just starting wars with no permission. Clearly, that's what we're doing in this situation, because everybody that you have to present in front of has said no, and you did it anyway. You can't make this stuff up whatsoever. Father Locke said, right, brought in for questioning, yes, but not arrested. Something smelled fecal, extremely fecal. I mean, like the fecal that's been sitting in there that you done stepped in fecal. Like the type of fecal when you go on the horse farm and you running and you just so happen to trip and fall in it, fecal. Something smells like trash in this situation. Because how exactly is this boy under arrest? I feel like I wasted y'all time doing this story, covering stuff that we already covered. Like, that's another reason why I'm mad, because I'm thinking with this arrest, they finna release some show enough. They done found the smoking gun. They done found the murder weapon. They done figured out how she was unalived. All to hear the videos and find out they don't have no more now than they had then, except him in custody. Make it make sense. So y'all know we gonna have to jump on a panel and talk about this one. So listen, I need y'all to do me a favor. Do me a really, really, really big favor. Hold on. Please kindly, my darlings, my dears, if you could please hit that like and subscribe button for me, I would greatly appreciate it. It does good for helping me in the algorithm. We are trying to get monetized. Everything that you see done in the Champagne City is done and designed by me, myself, and I. The shows, the stories, the research, the images, the thumbnails, the transitions, all of it. One woman show, and I also have to control it and do all these transitions. So please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Your girl is trying to get monetized. Consider supporting the channel, because I am not monetized, so YouTube does not pay me. All of this stuff that you get is absolutely free. But if you want to support the channel, you can hit the Cash App. The Cash App is in the description of each and every video. Please do me a favor and go check out the Champagne City homepage. There's a VIP lounge there that will take you to all the other channels that are located in the Champagne City. I do have a lot of others. Also, our brother channel who is in the chat, Father Locke Horror House. Please go check it out. See, Father Locke, I didn't say whorehouse. I didn't give you horse today. Please go check it out. Also, please consider going to check out some of the other videos that we have in the Champagne City. There is so much in the city for you to enjoy, from laughter to story times to seriousness to Holly Weird Untold, because your girl is a producer. I love to produce. So please do me a favor and go check it out. Champagne Gang, Fizz Fam, confidants, and visitors to the Champagne City. Always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, baby, it's causing you to depreciate. Now raise those glasses, clink, and let's drink. Till we meet again. Ta-ta.
Champagne on my tongue, silk on my skin undone. You lean in, say my name like a secret, like a sin. Coconut glow on your collarbone, salt on your lips, I taste home. You say right, let the night decide. I slide in the passenger side. Yeah. Champagne and silk on my lips, dripping slow from every kiss. Power in the sway of my hips. I'm a king, I'm a queen in the mist. Ocean breeze all over this ride, sweet like nectar when we collide. Champagne and silk on my lips, watch the whole downtown submit. Yeah, I'm that night rider, low-key lavish. You go teeth grin, bad habits. You that eyelid spell sweet static. Turn a calm heart problematic. Tongue like a passport stamp, every word leave a mark on your back. You pour that fizz on the curve of my neck, I call that liquid respect. You taste like summer in a slow pour. I sip, confidence dripping to the towel floor. We lit. Every baby in your baritone, got my high heels clicking like a metronome. Champagne and silk on my lips, dripping slow from every kiss. Power in the sway of my hips. I'm a king, I'm a queen in the mid. Yeah. Ocean breeze all over this ride, sweet like nectar when we collide. Champagne and silk on my lips, watch the whole damn pound submit. Sweet like nectar. Hey, baby, come closer. Champagne and silk. Yeah. Champagne and silk drip off my tongue, gold on my wrists, moon on my lungs. You lean in close, soft on your skin. I taste the wrist, then dive right in.